For the very last time in Term 3 of 2023, we welcome you to Monday Night Motorsport. First up, it's Orbic Australia GT4 coming to you from the Magny-Cours circuit in France, and then, of course, under Waste Options GT3 from Road America, ladies and gentlemen. Bit tight for time off the top tonight because, as you can see there, the cars are already rolling. There's the grid. Sam Chapman, Trent Lavis, Jordan Malcolm, Sam Muir, Jared Knight, Gary Cousins, Nick Wood, Michael Hammond, Liam Banks, and Jake Jackson. We'll get to the rest of them as we roll on here because this is the finale and there is a championship on the line. Let's get to work at Magny-Cours. Sam Chapman and Trent Lavis, the front row. Green and away. Trouble on the front straight. Can you believe that? Thankfully, only 3 cars caught up in that, and it could have been so much worse. Nick Wood, Gary Cousins, heavily involved. There was another car, but it looks as though they may have got away with it in some way, shape, or form. Sam Chapman and Trent Lavis side by side on the run up the back straight. Down to the hairpin for the first time. And Jordan Malcolm and Sam Muir side by side as well. Sam Chapman's intent to lead this one from the front. Trent Lavis has different ideas. Side by side we go on the opening lap. Now, let's deal with the house news. The big topics off the top tonight, ladies and gentlemen. A bit of housekeeping for you. Trent Lavis taking a lot of curb. Getting a lot of air off the start. Magnificent. Great car control. Did well. That could have set him flying elsewhere. Off the circuit, into the wall, up and over, as we saw for Nick Wood the other night. I don't doubt that. It's going to cost him a spot, at least. Jordan Malcolm gets through. Jared Knight back in 4th place, just ahead of Sam Muir, and Lavis is still trying to shave some time. So down the inside goes Jared Knight. Makes light work of that. Gifted to him.
Big move, but slowdown's costly.
Oh, yeah. Good evening to you, Adam Lavis. Good evening also to Josh Zuno, who's joining us from Race Control. We'll get to him very shortly. This is Waste Options, Monday Night Motorsport. When we get to GT3, it's Orbic Australia GT4 first up for you, though. And I'm going to let this play out on screen here, folks, and we'll explain what's going on. And I only got the memo this afternoon, unfortunately. iRacing maintenance is at it again. The servers are going down at 10 o'clock tonight, meaning our planned grand finale isn't as grand as it once was. We've started early. That's point number 1. Point number 2, there's a car in pit lane. That is Braden Sagassa. He was the other car involved in the incident on the opening lap. Gary Cousins and Nick Wood also still trying to limp their way home. So point number 1, iRacing maintenance at 10 o'clock Eastern, meaning what was supposed to be a 7:30 start here is... Oh, no, Trent Lavis has been sent by Michael Hammond. Trent Lavis has been poleaxed by Michael Hammond. Oh, boy. And there's already a 15-second penalty coming Hammond's way for the contact with Nick Wood on lap 1 that set off that chain reaction. So it's been a night to forget already for Hammond. It's about to get worse, I think. So this race, instead of being 45 minutes, is only 40 minutes. And then there'll be a 9:25 p.m. Eastern, 8:25 p.m. Eastern start, I should say, for an 85-minute race around Road America, as opposed to the originally scheduled 90. And that will enable us to get out by about 10 to 10 and into the post-race show, and therefore not fall foul of the servers going down at 10 Eastern. So what that means is, yes, a couple of us, particularly me, caught off guard tonight getting ready to rock and roll. That's why we were also a little bit rushed getting on air here, ladies and gentlemen, which is why we didn't have a chance to catch our breath before we got going. These guys, of course, got sucked straight into it off the start. So with that in mind, Adam Lavis, good evening to you. Sam Muir, 406 points, 373 for Sam Chapman. The championship is between those two. No one else is in any sort of contention. Let's not make any qualms about that. What has Chapman got to do to defeat Muir, and likewise, what has Muir got to do to defeat Chapman, please?
Well, you're coming off guard there. I'm trying to... Hang on.
While you work that one out, Pete Matson there, side by side with David Christensen. Matson down the inside. Just ahead is Nick Fodiatis, of course. Well, hang on. What's going on here? That's Pete down the inside. Pete's down the inside of Trucker. No. Oh, Aaron Cooper. Yeah, no. Sorry, there's a couple of things not quite right with the old... Aaron Cooper's pulling up. That's why. I was wondering why his name was coming and going from the timing loop. Because I wasn't seeing him behind. I was seeing Christensen, then Fodiatis. Oh, trouble. Off and out of it, Phil King. So Christensen that was the first thing that caught my eye. Something didn't seem right there. Christensen in the Merc. I was thinking that was Fodiatis for some reason because of whatever was going on with the data on the screen here. So Fodiatis 7th, Christensen, his teammate 8th, Fodiatis staying loyal to the Porsche, Christensen in the Merc, then Pete Matson in the Porsche, and Joe Baldwin in the Aston, now that Aaron Cooper's pulled off.
Answer your question for
I think I've been able to make sense of that now. Sorry, Adam, go for it.
Answer your question for Sam wins. Muir's got to finish in the top 7, which would be equal on points, then bonuses would come and play.
Okay. And
Muir just got a fast lap.
Muir's just got to beat Chapman, I would hazard a guess, because he's got the advantage at the moment.
Yeah, as long as he stays in the top 7, he's good.
All right, we'll keep an eye on that. And as you say, he's already stepped the fastest lap of the race, 1:45.733. It's lap 4. So 1:46 a lap time around here. So let's say that's 1 minute and 3/4 a lap. And 4 of those get you 7 minutes. 7 times 6 is 42. So if you take 1 away from that, 22 laps, 23 laps, because remember, we've got a splash and dash requirement in there as well tonight, ladies and gentlemen. So definitely 20 laps. You'll get 21, 22, maybe a 23rd, depending upon the transit time. But you won't get to 24. Whoa, nice bit of side-by-side action there, Robert McGrath.
Quite possibly 2 stops as well.
Copy that. Yeah, that's why I was that's what I was factoring into the equation. Because transit time for 1 stop isn't going to be 1:45, unless you fall foul of the regulations here. Trent Lavis in pit lane, Aaron Cooper and Braden Sagassa as well. So the walking wounded after a chaotic start here at Magny-Cours. Liam Banks will join us a little bit later on for the GT3 finale from Road America in the mean. And of course, we should point out this, we didn't even get to build the hype tonight, ladies and gentlemen. The championship's alive here, but it's dead. Done and dusted. It's a dead rubber in GT3. Matt Dench has 7 championships. GT3 AM, however, is still very much alive. It's very much alive. We'll cover that off in more detail a little bit later on. Aaron Cooper and Braden Sagassa are still in pit lane. Trent Lavis has got back out onto the racetrack. So that's good to see. 7.5 minutes gone, 4 laps gone at Magny-Cours. Sam Muir, the fastest lap of the race, 1:45.733. Josh Zuno, can I bring you in at this point in time? Good evening.
How are you?
Already a fair bit of work for you to pick apart.
Yeah, I am. Got my hands full. I'm trying to look over a heap of incidents and hit my dog from eating my food, actually. But yeah, there's not too much that's been called in. So a lot of it has actually been self-policed. But yeah, there's definitely been a couple of nasty ones so far. So I'm still looking over quite a few incidents.
I thought you might be. You'll be busy throughout the course of the night, mate. Thank you for that. There's another one for you. Eduardo Zamora getting pole-axed into the side of. And also off there behind him, couldn't quite pick up who it was. Might have been Brett Bradbury. There's Simon Clapham, 16th place at the moment, following Nick Wood through. Michael Hammond down in 14th, just ahead of Nick Wood there. Liam Banks, our good mate Liam Banks, is up to 5th already. There have been some big movers tonight. Fodiatis up to 7th. Christensen up 4 places in 8th spot. That's Michael Hammond going into the side of Nick Wood, who got into Gary Cousins, and all hell broke loose from there. So Hammond was the instigator and all of that, and he was the one that got away with it, but then obviously got slapped across the knuckles by race controls. So that should undo any of that. But we knew it was a 3-car incident. The fact that only 2 were left stranded on site raised some eyebrows. And then straight into the side of Trent Lavis there as well. did compromise. I think it was Sam Muir on the way through, or Jordan Malcolm. Here's the incident for Phil King that took place on the same corner at the same time. He went very deep trying to avoid a potential incident. Lavis and Hammond were still parked there on the outside. Yeah. Grand finale night of another 15-second penalty being issued. This one for Philip Howe for his incident with Brett Bradbury. Already a rate of attrition here. Remembering that if we get to 23 laps, you've got to get to 18 to cover off 75%. And that's Brett Bradbury. Oh. So Aaron Cooper and Braden Sagas are still already in a little bit of trouble on that note, getting to that maximum number of laps. 5.8 to 40. So when you get to the fact that he's 8 minutes behind, he's also going to be 5 laps behind, ladies and gentlemen. So that's that threshold that we're talking about. He's on the cusp of may as well park it up for the night. 1:45.57 remains the fastest lap of the race. It now belongs to Jordan Malcolm. And they're exchanging fastest laps at the top end of the tree. Not the biggest field we've ever seen in the GT4 finale. But then again, it's the first time we brought the finale to Magny-Cours as well, I think I'm right in saying. Sam Chapman, Jared Knight, Jordan Malcolm and Sam Muir, the top 4 at the moment. Muir's still the champion if he stays where he is. Joe Baldwin in 10th place. We're right on board with him now in the Aston. So yeah, a little bit of an earlier start than usual, folks. But that means potentially a slightly earlier finish as well, considering we're relying this one off as a late night. And it's been curtailed somewhat. I don't think anyone's going to complain about that. It has been a very busy few days. Got some news regarding broadcast for the rest of this week as well, just by the by, which will bring you a little bit later on in the broadcast.
Very exciting week ahead.
Absolutely. I don't think we even got a chance to have a look at the track map off the top, Adam Lavis. Do you mind if we do that now and let everybody know that the Magny-Cours circuit is actually one of the newer ones on the server, along with Motorland, Aragon and a couple of others that have dropped this year, Willow Springs being another. So we're at 4:28 in the afternoon, so the race server started around that 4 o'clock marker. We are September 10, 2023. That, of course, is 1 day out. It is actually September 11 server time. It's just it's always an issue at SDK's end, not ours. 15 kilometre an hour winds, 23% humidity, 22 the ambient, 30 on track. The circuit itself, 4.41 kilometres, known for being tight and challenging and difficult to overtake on. We've already seen ample evidence of that in the opening 10 minutes thus far. Jordan Malcolm, fastest lap of the race. 1:45.365. Thank you, Adam Lapis. 12 and a half minutes gone. So it's between the two Sams here. And there are battles further down the order as well that we need to keep an eye on. Now, I mentioned Darren Cooper earlier. He's still in pit lane, has been for eight and a half minutes. So whatever his problem was that was causing me a little bit of confusion there earlier, just trying to work out what the bloody hell was going on the screen. Not sure what it is. Let's have a look at it now.
Oh. Something real world's popped up.
Something real world, absolutely. He's just pulled off to the side of the ride. Because it was whilst that was going on that I was having a look at David Christensen in the Merc and thinking, hang on, what's going on here? Because I was having second guesses as to whether Nick had traded his beloved Porsche. No, he hadn't. There he is on screen. It's that, like Gary Cousins and Paul Wood, the Bailey Ladders teammates run the same colour. So it's if you don't know who's who, it can be very off-putting. And same again for Pistol Pete and when he's not running the Orbic Australia livery, of course, and Michael Hammond. They run that notorious, distinct Aussie gold, or yellow, canary yellow as Billy Birmingham would call it. We're watching Jared Knight on screen at the moment. The Aston keeping the Porsches honest here. And speaking of being kept honest, there's Robert McGrath, there's Michael Hammond. Michael Hammond down on the inside. Up into 12th, it'll matter very little because we know that Hammond's got a couple of penalties coming his way. Lee Turner tuning in tonight. Good evening to you. Thanks for stopping on by. This is the last Monday night motorsport of the term, ladies and gentlemen. We're back with you, launching Monday, September 25 for the new season. There's a warning for Dale Sharp for the poor rejoin on Joe Baldwin on lap 6 on Thursday. So this is week 10 of term 3. This is night 1 of said 10th week. Season 14 for the club. Season 15 launches Monday, September 25, 3 months out from Christmas. An early Christmas present for all and sundry. Join us on Thursday night after we bring you the Porsche Cup finale. Again, a dead rubber thanks to Matt Dench and his dominance. When we will reveal the slate of broadcast nights and categories on offer next season. I've been given a glimpse of it. It's mightily impressive. It's well worth sticking around on Thursday night to have a look at that. Here's Hammond in 11th at the moment. It'll be interesting to see what he can salvage from there, because obviously there's going to be a 15-second penalty applied after the fact. I believe, and I'll get Josh Ditto to come in and confirm it for me, I believe Hammond has been, what we just call it, given the benefit of the doubt with the second incident, because he redressed and he stayed parked where he was and he let Trent Lavis resume ahead of him. Is that right?
Yeah, I'm still probably going to issue. I'm looking at that one right now. I'm still probably going to issue a safety point penalty there. Just the fact, I think it was very opportunistic, and there may have still been some mist lingering, dare I say. I don't think it was ever a move that was on the cards. I don't know whether he missed his marker, but yeah, unfortunately, I think I better hand a safety point penalty down there at least, even though he redressed.
All good, thank you. Pit lane is a flurry of activity at the moment. We've got Sam Muir, Jared Knight, Liam Banks, David Christensen, Dale Sharp, Joe Baldwin, Michael Hammond and Robert McGrath. They're all on pit road at the moment. So no, the word I was looking for was spared. He hasn't been spared at all. He's going to get a penalty of some description, but it's not going to be a race penalty per se. So we'll leave Josh Zuno to do that for the moment. Sam Chapman doing exactly what he needs to do tonight and leading from the front. Jordan Malcolm going with him. Strategy play is going to be very interesting, boys, because we now know that the critical number here is not a full stint from the checkered flag.
Yeah, because of the 5 minutes shorter races, so I had to take an extra 3 minutes out of their tanks, so just to make sure we didn't have anyone sneaking in. So it should still be a 2-stop race as it was originally planned.
Yeah. But obviously there's a discrepancy in the strategy here as well, because we've seen a few stops on lap 7, 8. Now 9 has been a common stopping ground or stopping number for so many. Is 10 the threshold for Sam Chapman? Does he come to pit lane this time? And if it's a 23-lap race, that means we could see the top up to get home as early as lap 13, if that is the case. Let's keep an eye on this.
I think Josh's numbers are together by that.
I think so. Trent Lavis will love that. Actually, Chris Whitaker will be watching and he'll be screenshotting that. He will be absolutely loving that. In the pit lane comes Sam Chapman and Jordan Malcolm. Hello to David Kirby up there in far north Queensland. I saw a post from him today, and I reckon there's a fair few Australians who would echo his sentiments at the moment. Winning the lottery, winning squillions of dollars and being able to not do this thing called work sounds like a very nice idea to me. Jordan Malcolm out of pit lane at the end of the first splash and dash of this race for him. Sam Chapman comes out, Jared Knight comes out. Chapman has stayed in his box a lot longer than everybody else, 17.03 seconds there, and he comes out third ahead of Sam Muir.
I wonder if some of the guys are playing little field games here just to try and get track position.
I wouldn't be surprised at all, mate. I would not be surprised at all. You took me straight to my next point, because I'm looking at some of the discrepancies in numbers there, and they don't add up. 11.4 for Jordan, 15.9 for Jared, 17.0 for Sam. So there's clearly some games going on here. A lot of guys might be looking at doing a split down the middle, 7 laps and then 6 laps, or some people might be looking at running the tank dry and then doing that small splash and dash stint at the end, or some of these guys are on that short, sharp run now.
Yeah, Jordan's definitely short, because everyone else has done 10 laps, has got either a high 16 or a low 17 stop time. He's gone for 11.5, so he's gone for the short field now to try and run away, and you have to pay an invoice the next stop.
Copy that.
Gary on the comeback track.
At the moment, lucky for some. Nick Wood's right in behind him. Not lucky for him. Jeez. His race went downhill right at the start. The only way is up for Nick Wood.
Well, he's actually doing pretty well as well. He's right behind Gary there, so they're both coming through. Unfortunately, Nick's still got a bit of damage. He didn't do his fast spur at the stop, so he may not know he's got the damage, but he might want to click that for the second stop.
He may not care either at this point.
Yeah.
Considering the race was done before he got the turn off. Oh, no. Here's Treno on the subject of recovery mission.
I think he had the fastest lap last time I saw it too, so he's a way back through. So you reckon this extra 15 minutes race is going to make your commentator's choice easier or harder tonight?
Harder, I think, to be perfectly honest with you. And you've just reminded me, we gave it to Grant Gill last week. There he is on screen, giving way to Trent Lavis, and going through there with Trent just quietly was...
Not quite through, he's trying.
No, Brett Bradbury was trying to get through, but couldn't get it done. Yeah, that's a fair point, Kirby. That's a very fair point. Emotional damage indeed. I think we're all feeling a little bit of that after the last few days. If you're a Storm or a Swan supporter particularly, like me.
Pete's under assault by Nick Woody.
Nick Wood, down the inside. Have a look at the memo go. It's out of it. Bale's out of it. Pete holds the inside line. The Orbic Australia GT4 series and the naming rights car on screen at the moment.
Pete was having a great weekend. He got a couple of top fives in the wings and slicks on Friday, and then he was running around about top 5 podium positions the whole race on Saturday night. I think he made a mistake near the end, putting back a little bit, but yeah, he's having a great weekend, so he was very happy with himself over the weekend.
Whoa, Nick Wood down the inside! At one of the rare few overtaking opportunities on this circuit, he pounced, and he got it done. Nice. Clean bit of driving from Nick Wood. Now, housekeeping from pit lane again. I know I've been harping on about that all night, but we've been playing catch up from the start, haven't we? Braden Sagas is out. Forget about him. Gone, done. He's sitting in the pit lane still, but he's out. Mathematically, he cannot make 75% race distance, nor for that matter can Aaron Cooper. They're both done. Philip Howe has parked up and left the server. He's done too. We're down to 22 of the 25 that originally started, and a few of these drivers punching out PBs that time around. Our mate Nick Fodiatis up into 7th spot, up 7 positions on where he started. The biggest movers have been Dale Sharp and Joe Baldwin up to 9th and 10th respectively, up +9, and nothing stands out beyond that, quite frankly. Jordan Malcolm and Jared Knight lead the way here, but Sam Chapman's giving close chase to Jared Knight. Malcolm's lead is 4.45 seconds, but that actually balances out just nicely when you look at the amount of time he spent in the pit lane, or didn't spend in the pit lane, that Jared Knight and Sam Chapman did. If you're just joining us, this is Orbic Australia GT4. This is Monday Night Motorsport on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club, the final one of the term. We take next Monday night off. I think a lot of us are all looking forward to just going out and doing something social for a change, as opposed to the virtual social that has become the norm. I, for one, am having dinner in Taree on route to Cessnock next Monday night, so looking forward to that. And then, of course, for everybody else, I'm looking forward to reconvening on Monday, September 25. Well, I won't be with you that night because I'll be at the Sydney Opera House watching Delta Goodrum perform live. Is Jared Knight. They're coming round onto the main straight, another lap gone. So, yeah, this is the end of the road as far as this season is concerned. We'll crown a champion in GT4 tonight. We did start early. We started about 15 minutes earlier than expected as far as our broadcast was concerned because of iRacing maintenance scheduled for 10 o'clock Eastern Australian time tonight. And when I say Eastern Australia, I can actually say Eastern Australia as a collective at the moment, unlike in 3 weeks' time. Then, of course, that has had ramifications on race distance. This race shortened from 45 to 40 minutes, and GT3 shortened to 85. We're off to Road America at the end of this broadcast, at the end of this race. This is the entree. The main course is one of the great circuits of world motorsport and one of the best of American motorsport. Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin in the final round of GT3 first options. Jared Knight and Sam Chapman slipped by a hair's breadth through the chicane.
So Jordan's just eking the gap out a little bit. Jared's the one that's slipping back. Sam's sort of there or thereabouts with Jordan, probably just a little bit slipping back, but not as much as Jared is. So Sam's trying to keep that gap to Jordan as close as possible to try and make that pit stop time back up in the next stop.
T. Lavis, fastest lap of the race, 1:45.134. Josh Zuno, update from race control. There's been, as we saw on the screen, there's been a few warnings issued, a couple of penalties as well. No net code yet, which was one of the big issues we had last week.
Yeah, so I've had a bit of a look into that, and I attribute a lot of net code in with cars running close to each other alongside curbs. Now, there isn't too many problematic curbs here. There's quite a few sausage curbs, but not too many where moves are being made. So, yeah, there hasn't been too much net code. Thought there might have been a bit of net code with the initial incident with Mikey, Nick, and Gary, but yeah, unfortunately, that was just on Mikey there.
Oops, it was a bit wide.
Gathered it up. That lost a little bit of ground to Jared Knight in the process.
Yeah, Treno's been unlucky. Like he hasn't had much time to get in the sim the last couple of months, but the last few times he's got in, he's found himself in unfortunate incidents. Like tonight, he's been hit by Mikey when he's trying to make a move with someone else. Similar thing on Friday night, he actually came and joined us for Wings and Slicks, and then went tried to go side by side and turn one at Phillip Island and got a little touch and lost a lot of the ground. I can't remember what happened in the second race, but he's just getting some unfortunate, unlucky breaks with some side by side racing at the moment, but. He'll truck on. He's got plenty of pace on board, so he'll work his way back to the front. Here we go, red on red. David Christian gets the best Nick Fodianis here. So, but has Nick got some fuel numbers to burn here for the next stop?
Well, it's interesting. We look at Merc the Porsche at the moment because there are 3 Mercs in the top 10, 4 Porsches, 2 Astons, and 1 Bimmer. It's become common practice. In these situations, in these instances, the last few weeks. It's a 4-manufacturer field. We don't have a McLaren out there tonight. We haven't for a few weeks. Aaron Cooper, Braden Scass is still sitting on pit lane. Philip Howe is done for the night. Trent Lavis was the first to stop last. Yeah, so he's now good to run to the checkered flag, as is Eduardo Zamora. Everybody else yet to pay that second invoice. But we anticipate 23 laps. That's what we're banking on. Yes, very good evening to Tafari. It's Tafari. Apologies for my tardiness of tuning in late. No, that's okay. Our fault. We started early. We didn't really advertise it on our social platforms. We started early due to iRacing maintenance. Not your fault, mate. Not your fault. But you can go back and watch the replay tomorrow to catch up what you've missed on. And all the fireworks let loose in the first 3 laps. And it was the 007 that was embroiled in much of it. Joe Baldwin in the pit lane. He pits for the second and final stop of his strategy for the night. Nick Wood and Pete Matson also in to complete that last splash and dash. So Adam Lavis was spot on. Anticipated it to be a 2-stop race, and is so. There's Jared Knight. So the field, we've got the top 12 yet to come to the lane for the second time. We will see more of those stops play out over the next couple of laps. We believe that lap 20 is the threshold. That's as far as anyone will be able to go. 10 laps to a stint was the longest we saw in the opening stint. The opening run. So that's 10, 20, and then 3 laps home. But the good thing is now we're past that critical lap number. We're past that threshold. Anyone can stop now and get home, provided they do their sums right. Jordan Malcolm to pit lane. Jared Knight and Sam Chapman play on. Keep it on Jared's pit time here compared to Knight and Chapman when we next see them. Smooth run so far for Jordan Malcolm.
12.8 seconds.
Not bad. So if we're gauging what the other boys might do, sub 9 seconds. Sub 9 seconds is what we probably expect.
He took about 5.5, 6 seconds less fuel that last stop. So we'll probably see 6 to 7 second stops from these guys who took full loads at that first stop. So we'll see when they come in a lap or two, and then we'll get the cleanse run to the line.
Chapman giving Knight a great hurry up here. But Chapman was a little bit slower through pit lane. First time round, 1.08 seconds, in fact, slower than Jared Knight. The margin at the moment, 0.9 of a second. So there's your difference. But I can't imagine that there was any... hang on, David Christensen, multi-21.
Oh, look out. Maybe slow down.
Maybe. Yeah. Josh?
No, I was just saying it definitely was a slowdown. I watched that one and I was about to congratulate Dave. I believe that's the first time that he's led the AER boys on a GT4 night. But then he got a slowdown, so I didn't.
Yeah, didn't want to put the mocker on it, but too late. Nick Wood and Michael Hammond still nose to tail here. Nick Wood following Michael Hammond through. Is there a square up looming after what we saw on the opening lap?
Nick must have heard us because he's taking his fast repair on the second stop.
There we go.
Nice, fresh looking front end on the beam here.
Might have been tuning in. All right, this is good. This is Michael Hammond and Nick Wood. These guys yet to stop that. Actually, no, these guys have stopped their cleanse. They're going to the line. Liam Banks now in to do the same. And the number of those yet to visit or yet to transit the lane that second time shrinks again.
So
Dale Sharp comes in too.
Yeah, so Joe's second stop was 7.5. Mikey's was 9. Nick Wood was 6.2. So, yeah, so around that 6 to 7 second stop seems to be the marker for the guys who went along on the first one and filled up.
I'm interested to see what the difference is between Knight and Chapman second time round, though. Did Chapman go one lap longer than Knight, and that's the reason for the second difference in their pit stops? Or was there some other shortcoming?
So theoretically, yeah. So Knight probably filled on his stop. Being a lap earlier, he would have still had a little bit of fuel in the tank, so he wouldn't have been able to squeeze as much in. So he only got 16 seconds of fuel in, whereas Chapo got 17 seconds because he had that little bit extra space in the tank by running it that extra lap.
Okay, so effectively, Chapman's very delicately placed here, very well placed.
He could jump. Yeah, he could definitely possibly jump Jared here. And then the question is, where do they come out in relation to Jordan?
Yep, who is 19 seconds down the road. I think Jordan's looking good here at the moment, boys.
Oh, it's going to be tight.
Very good. All right. Excitement plus in the closing stages here. We've got under 20% of the race to go. 32 minutes down, 8 minutes to go.
Here we go.
Here we go. We're about to find out how it all plays out. Keep your eyes on this, ladies and gentlemen. We'll come back to that question in just a moment. Adam Lavis might be in a better position to answer that than me, quite frankly. Chapman, Muir, Knight all in. Malcolm comes across the line. Jordan Malcolm leads the race.
Sam was moving first, though.
The race.
Got gap, got margin.
He's got him. By a good margin. Nice and comfortable is Jordan Malcolm as Sam Chapman comes back out on the racetrack.
I think Jared's taking too much fuel too. He's taking 10 seconds. I think he's overfilled there. So you might regret that.
Yeah.
Jordan.
7 for Sam Chapman, 3.5 seconds between Jordan Malcolm and Jared Knight, 2.3 between Chapman and Knight. So that's overturned in a big way.
Jordan doing that offset fuel strategy put himself in a lot of clean air as well, so we could just run his race. Whereas Jared and Sam were they weren't tussling too much, but I'm sure they probably had a bit more time on the table if they weren't so close.
I'm actually enjoying the banter that's coming from North Queensland with David Kirby at the moment. Keep it coming, mate. Thank you. Good to have you engaged in the broadcast once more, and looking forward to hopefully seeing you on track again sometime soon. We know you've been fairly busy in other servers. Looking forward to seeing you back on the platforms of the GSRC down the track. In the meantime, Nick Wood is passed by Dale Sharp. They're chasing Hammond and Christensen. Top 10 positions at stake here. Nick Fodiatis has got up into the top 5. He's ahead of Liam Banks by a good margin, but he hasn't stopped that second time yet. So we'll keep an eye on that. He's the only one in the top 10 with the exception of Matty Brunt yet to stop. Brunt in 8th place at the moment. So Fodialis has got Brunt covered, but who else can we get out in front of here? Malcolm leads, Chapman second. The margin has come down to 0.7 of a second. Malcolm and Chapman. Chapman is lurking.
Back somewhere in that final segment of corners there. He must be very close to a slowdown, so he may have got lucky with that one.
Chapman is hovering like a cheap suit. Here we go.
It's a Fari's question. It's probably more of a mix. Like there is probably some games to have with the direct drive, as it is a much more visceral feeling and feedback. But the guys who are good can definitely get the best out of those belt drivens, or even the more cheaper steering wheels. Like we had a famous night a few seasons ago with one of our top stalwarts, Brett Hobson. He was on the road, so he took
that was brilliant.
Just a basic $60 Logitech steering wheel with him, put it in the cupboard of the hotel room with an office chair, and he still came on the podium. So the equipment helps, but it's not the be all end all.
The old antiquated analog setup, it was fantastic.
Chapo
doing Hobbo things.
Chapo tried last week, but unfortunately it didn't quite pay off for him.
Actually, got to acknowledge and applaud the commitment there at Chapo. Took it all the way to bloody Bali. Fantastic. Here's Dale Sharp all over the back of David Christensen. Hammond in 9th, Christensen 10th. But that's the other thing as well. Hammond's going to drop out. He's got a 15-second penalty coming his way. Hammond will drop below all of those men behind him, provided they stay as tightly bunched as they are. Gary Cousins will be there or thereabouts as well on the precipice. Have a look at the margins at the end of this. As it sits, Gary Cousins would get Michael Hammond by a second. But that could go either way in the remaining 3 minutes and 50 seconds. Dale Sharp holding on to 11th. Nick Wood there. Nick Wood.
What's a bit of a hairy spot to go side by side?
Oh, very nicely done. Nick Fodiatis, here he comes. Now, we're about to get an insight into how far Nick is going to fall down the queue.
Well, he was fighting with David Christian, so he's probably going to come out really around this group here somewhere.
100%. Liam Banks is out. He's got into 5th place. Fodiatis is out. Drops behind Jackson. Coming out onto the racetrack now. Here come Joe Baldwin and the rest of them. Fodiatis is out. Now the race is on. He's got them covered, however...
Maybe not.
They're coming. Joe Baldwin.
Yeah, they're out.
Oh, no. Fodiatis gets out and gets out in 7th. Baldwin up 11 spots is the biggest move of the race by my numbers.
It's about to drop one.
Oh boy. Robert McGrath's down a lot. Actually 3 laps. He's parked up. He's done for the night. Here goes Hammond down the inside. Forget about Mikey in the greater scheme of things. We know he's got a 15-second invoice coming his way. Drunk Labour still has the fastest lap of the race, 145, 134. It's a case of what might have been for him sitting down there in 16th. Malcolm leads Chapman by 0.6 of a second. Jared Knight, Sam Liam Banks, Jake Jackson, Nick Fodiatis, and Hammond, Baldwin, Christensen, and Nick Wood and Dale Sharp make up the top dozen. That's 2 Astons, 2 Bimmers, 3 Mercs and 5 Porsches in that dozen for you. So it's not quite an even split, but it's close enough. 145.419 for Sam Chapman, his PB of the night. He's 0.69 of a second away from Jordan Malcolm, who's crossed the line to start lap 22. We've got 2 laps to go. We've got this and one more. Next time by white flag. Nick Wood, David Christensen. Uh-oh. Gone. And Nick Wood knew that was a long shot. That was a fairly lengthy bow. Oh dear. It started with an incident with one of the Aussie racer entries. It ends with an incident with one of the Aussie entries as well. Oh boy.
Are we going in overtime here, Zach?
Yes, we are. We are going to overtime. We will go to overtime.
Oh, there's the floating... little speck on the screen in the sky there. There's a floating Portaloo around Magny-Cours. iRacing's just put a Portaloo in the sky.
Lovely. iRacing doing iRacing things. Maybe that's one of the things they're fixing tonight. Trent Lavis, fastest lap of the race, 1:45, 1:34. We pick him up on screen at the moment. He's sitting there 15th. Now, that incident between Nick Wood and David Christensen, 11th and 12th, has actually potentially helped Michael Hammond here. No, not as much as I would have thought. Hammond actually still has to clear 0.8 of a second before he's going to actually be clear of Gary Cousins. He's only got this lap and one more to do it. And Christensen and Wood renew hostilities here. Josh Zuno's investigating that incident at the moment, and I'm not surprised. Oh, he set it way too deep at the hairpin. Christensen holds on for now. Those two aren't sorted yet. Yeah. I don't know. The occasion got the better of Nick Wood there, I think, just at the back end of that race. "15-second penalty for Nick Wood." There you go. So that actually does Michael Hammond a favour, because Wood's going to drop down now as well, down behind Matty Brumby.
Oh no, Joe's in the lane.
Joe Baldwin's on pit road.
Miscalculated.
Joe Baldwin's on pit road as Jordan Malcolm is halfway through the final lap. What's going on there, please?
He would have tried to time these fuel numbers, and the overtime's got him.
The overtime has got Joe Baldwin, and he's the only one that's been caught out thus far as well. He drops to 14th, and all the meanwhile that helps Michael Hammond as well. Oh, Brett Bradbury around the wrong way. Here they come, Christensen and Wood. That battle continues. Wood's right there up on the outside. Christensen going with him. Side by side. Can Wood get by Christensen? Yes, he can. There's contact between the two of them. They come down to the hairpin. Wood was trying to cover that off. That was never going to work. Wood put himself wide. It doesn't matter, Nick. You've got a 15-second invoice coming anyway. Jordan Malcolm to the last corner. Jordan Malcolm, a former GT4 champion, might not be claiming glory this time round, but at least he finishes with a W in the column. Gets the job done at Magny-Cours. Second to Sam Chapman, third to Jared Knight, fourth to Sam Muir. There's your Orbic Australia GT4 champion in term 3 of 2023 on the platform for the Gentleman Sim Racing Club. Sam Muir has got the job done. Liam Banks will go 5th, just holding off Jake Jackson. Michael Hammond will drop down the order. We'll tell you how far in just a moment. Rick Fodiatis will come home 7th, Dale Sharp 8th, and David Christensen is fighting with Nick Wood, but he need not bother because Nick Wood's going to drop down as well. So David Christensen will secure a place in the top 10 here. Look at the battle further back as these blokes go at it.
Nick's run out of
17th.
Yep.
This is for 17th. Uh-oh. He's okay. Let's have a look at this. Grant Gill, 18th, holding off Brett Bradbury and Phil King and trying to get past Eduardo Zamora. Oh, Brett. Up on the outside. No. I think that's how they're going to come home, gentlemen. Simon Clapham in at 21st place there. Final turn, checkered flag. Well done, boys. Kept it nice and clean in the end. Brett Bradford survived a couple of spins, comes home behind Grant Gill, and Phil King rounds up the top 20. Simon Clapham will finish a lap down, I think you'll find.
Jordan's heading to Italy.
Jordan Malcolm's going to light it up on the escape road. Very nice. Robert McGrath, Philip Howe, Aaron Cooper and Braden Sagasta, non-finishers in all of that. Not a bad night out, if you ask me. There's the finishing order for you. Confirmation that Clapham was a lap down, ladies and gentlemen. I need to have a look at this because Michael Hammond's got 15 seconds, so he's going to drop down. Oh, Jesus. He's going to drop down just behind Nick Wood, but that's not a problem because Nick Wood's going to drop down as well. So they're going to go down together. Hammond will slot into 11th. Just ahead of Gary Cousins, and Nick Wood's going to slot down to either side of Trent Lavis. He's either going to be in front or behind of Trent Lavis there, because we don't have the full decimal point breakdown of Lavis's time deficit there. Wow. 40 minutes. We weren't too sure what to expect at Magny-Cours, but it delivered. This was the drama right from the start. Right from the start. Gary Cousins, actually, all things considered, did well to recover there in the end. So he will finish 10th in all of that, because both Hammond and 11th in all of that, because Hammond drops down just ahead of him and Nick Wood drops down behind or in front of Trent Lavis. I'll get the exact margins on that in just a moment. I think Trent's going to edge him out by about half a second. So, wow. Catch your breath, Australia. Catch your breath. That's just leg one of the doubleheader done on a Monday night. And apologies for the apologies for the rushed nature of it off the top. I'm having a shocker. Let's welcome in. Well, we've got Nick Fodiatis here. We've got Jordan Malcolm here. We've got Sam Chapman and Sam Muir as well. Boys, the two Sams, I'm going to get to you in just a moment. We did have Joe Baldwin. We don't at the moment. We'll get back to him as well. I think he's reaching for a calculator. Nick Fodiatis, on that note, let's go to you. Someone that did get his numbers right tonight. It'll be 7th, mate, because Mikey's got done for a 15-second penalty for that incident off the start that we just saw on screen. So a lucky 7 in the end. You played the long game, ran it dry on both occasions, and brought it home in one piece, mate. And that's all you can ask for, despite some serious pressure from your teammate in the Merc there.
Yeah, thanks, Zach. The Bailey Ladder's car was nice to drive around here, but being nice means it's not fast. So the driver has to do a bit of work here. In saying that, it's the best I could have hoped for. Is really 7th place. So I just didn't have this. Like again, I didn't have the speed of those top guys. They just drove off. I had a look 5 laps in. They were 9 seconds in front, and then I think 8 laps in, just before I stopped, they were 14.5 seconds in front. I was like, oh man, it's a losing battle here. So I just got to concentrate on my little battle. So yeah, and I was taking my back because the tanks are a little smaller. I was actually hoping they'll be a bit longer, a bit bigger, because I didn't want to stop twice. But anyway,
no, I don't think anyone did actually. Quite frankly, to be honest with you, but in saying that, that certainly added to the challenge. You can take that up with Adam Lavis offline. Because he shaved 3% off the tanks when there were 5 minutes taken off the clock. Coming back to you in just a moment, I just want to check in with our mate across on the other side of the nullarbor, Joe Baldwin. Did we get our numbers wrong tonight, Joe?
I'm devastated. Yes, I did.
Yeah. Okay. Copy that. That's how we called it. Adam Lavis suspected that
because it didn't work.
Yeah, 2 litres. I had a look at how long the first stint took us in time, and worked out how many litres we get, and I just remember, and I didn't carry the 2. So yeah, I was sitting there going, oh, we're getting the white lap, aren't we? We're getting the white lap, aren't we? And when I got to the line, the realisation hit me, and I'm like, So probably would have been well in the top 8 if I had have had another 2 litres, I guess.
Absolutely, you would have been. Absolutely, you would have been.
It's just how it goes, you know. It's
I'll come back and analyse the rest of your race in just a moment, but maybe a subtle tip for the future. Check in with commentary partway through the broadcast. You might get the Zaculator out. You may just, I don't know. We had 23, Joe, so we were right here in the commentary box. But I don't think you accounted for the fact that we would have the potential overtime, and I think that's what tripped you up. But that's okay, mate.
Yeah, definitely. I think you must have got to the line with a few seconds to spare for that extra lap, and
exactly.
Just tripped me up. When I came out of the pits, I had like 5.2 laps worth of fuel. And I'm like, we're going to be sweet. And that was 6 I needed.
Oh, no. All right, coming back to you in just a moment, mate. We'll continue on with your teammate, Nick Fodiatis here. Hey, Nick, that was good, the battle between you and David Christensen. But was there a bit of multi-21 stuff going on there late in the piece, or did he cop a slowdown?
My front left wasn't liking the long turns, especially to the right-hand corners. And then I said, look, go past. And then he did get a slowdown. He cut a bit of curb at the Adelaide hairpin, and then I put on almost a 3-second slowdown for him. So I was like, oh, okay, I had to get past. Get down the road. I don't want to lose too much time, but I couldn't catch the guys in front. Jake and Liam were just too quick for me.
Our good mate Brett Bradbury's had a shocker there. Practiced with the Merc on the weekend and then picked the BMW. Oh dear, good on you, Brett. Saddle up, go around again, son. You'll be right. Nick, it's the end of the road. Another season done. And as far as the championship's concerned, you were well inside the top 10 coming into tonight. There wasn't much separating you and Michael Hammond, and it might just be that his 15-second penalty tonight gets you that elusive top 5 finish, which is a testament to another 10 weeks well put together, mate.
Yeah, thanks. I mean, it's a season over 10 weeks. It's not just one race, and it's all about the consistency there. I mean, it's the best I could do. I couldn't get to the top step or anywhere on the podium. These guys are very quick at the front, so I just got to keep putting in those top 10s, top 5s.
Just confirming, Adam Laver, start time for GT3 is 8:25. Yes. Copy that. As far as your driver, Commentator's Choice Award driver of the night is concerned, oh geez, I'm not sure. I haven't seen the list actually, to be perfectly honest with you. Has Dale Sharp won it yet? Can you check that for me? Because I'm just looking at Sharpie, because obviously Trucker was sitting up 11 until he did himself a mischief. But if Dale Sharp hasn't won it, plus 9.
Previous winners: round 1, Nil.
Yep.
Round 2, Sam Chapman.
Yep.
Round 3, Ollie Patterson.
Copy.
He was missing tonight, wasn't he?
He was.
Round 4, Braden.
Yep.
Round 5, Jared Knight. Round 6, Nick Wood. Round 7, Matt Brunt. Round 8, Matthew Scholes.
Round 9,
Round 9, Grant Gill.
And
round 10 to be announced.
And it's going to be announced right now. We'll give it to Sharpie, because I tell you what, I mean, take nothing away from Nick Wood and what he's done with that Bimmer, and he had a shocking start with it tonight. But Dale's been persevering with the BMW, both in GT4 and GT3, I'm pretty sure. And he's one of the minority doing that. And he's got himself a top 5 finish. He's done well. We've been talking all season about his ongoing improvement. So I reckon we give it to Dale Sharp tonight in the Orbic Australia car. And that's not coincidental because he's running an Orbic Australia livery. I just want to put that out there. It's not a bias sort of thing. People might think it's coincidental. Yes, it is. It is absolutely coincidental because there's no bias here in central commentary. But and it's not a contractual obligation that I have to give it to an Orbic car. But otherwise, Pete Matson would have won it 5 or 6 weeks ago. But no, the reality of the situation is we're going to give it to Sharpie, because I tell you what, I've been impressed with him just chipping away at it nicely throughout the course of the season, and doing so rather patiently. And quietly. So well done. Congratulations to you, mate. Commentator's Choice Award for the final round. And it's actually plus 10 because Michael drops out of the top 10 there. Nick jumps up to 7th. You jump up to 8th, mate. So well done. That's enough for me. The only one in double digits tonight as far as the positives are concerned. Unfortunately, our good mate Trent Lavis down minus 13. So we'll have a chat to Trent a little bit later on if he graces us with his presence. Nick, sticking with you, mate. We love this format. Yep. We can't wait to see where it ends up in term 4. I have good sources reporting that there might be some change in the air for GT4. But the category remains popular. The racing remains top shelf. It has been a must-watch and a must-do event on a Monday night throughout the course of the last couple of seasons.
Yeah, I think the cars are approachable. They're easy to drive. You can see them on the roads. They're not stupid big slicks and huge downforce, so you still have to drive them with a bit of finesse. Yep. And what do we max out in terms of grid size? Didn't we have 40 something at one stage?
Yeah, absolutely we did.
So if what is planned does come to fruition, I'm hoping we get a bigger tank for a start. But also with the broadcast, if I can go through on no stops, I'll be happy.
100%. Absolutely.
Yeah, it should be good fun.
Should be indeed. What are you plying your trade at for the next couple of weeks before we reconvene, my friend?
The back of my eyelids.
Very nice. Yeah, me too. As far as you've been loyal to the Porsche. Any reason to change that or not?
No, I want it to be a bit, synonymous kind of thing, a bit like a Dale Sharp is to a BMW.
Yep.
So I have no intention of changing. I love the balance of the car. Yeah, okay, I wiped out a front left on this track, but
yes.
Look, I know it's quirks now. I'm at one with it. Someone like my teammate who was absent today, who was having fun down the Gold Coast,
Yes.
he's still trying to figure out that the Aston. So, and he's umming and ahhing whether or not he changes or not. Whereas I've been in this Porsche since it came out pretty much, and I haven't turned back since. I don't have any intention of doing that. And the only other GT4 I have is the BMW. So yeah, I'll stay with the Porsche.
Well, once upon a time, it was Porsche and was it the Merc or the McLaren? In McLaren, Porsche and McLaren, and that was in GT4. You couldn't drive.
Oh yeah, BMW. And the McLaren came along.
And then the Merc, and then the Aston. Yeah. So it's been a while in the making. The Porsche has been one of the originals, and you it's very appropriate because you're one of the originals as well. So it somewhat goes hand in hand.
Also, I purchased the new Ferrari GT3, so who knows? I might make an appearance back in GT3, especially with this proposal that's coming to fruition. So we'll see.
All right, looking forward to it. Hey, thanks for your time throughout the course of the season,
no worries.
mate.
Thank you,
in all the post-race shows. Looking forward to catching up with you in a couple of weeks. Enjoy the break, eh?
Thank you.
And well done on that championship result as well. We'll confirm those points in just a moment. Our colleague Liam Banks is standing by. No doubt quite happy with himself after another top 5 finish. We'll just let him settle down a moment, and we'll hear from him very shortly when GT3 rolls out. Jordan Malcolm, let's go to you as the race winner. Congratulations, nice performance. Joe Baldwin's not terribly happy that you dragged us to 23 laps, but our numbers said you were going to anyway. So I'll let Joe deal with that at another point in time. In saying that, though, mate, a highly competitive race. You were pushed all the way out to pull out all stops, and strategy was what won it tonight.
Yeah, just fuel saving that first stint. I could see Jared and Sam they weren't making too many mistakes, but it was enough for me to be like, if I'm going to win this race, I'm going to need track position. So yeah, underfueled that. Probably went half and half with my fuel, and luckily used the clean air to my advantage to get the lead after the second round.
And the Porsche, it's been it's had its moments throughout the course of the season. It has served you well. Yeah, sure, it's not a championship win for you this time round, but you remain highly competitive. You must be looking forward to trying to get back on top of the summit, give or take some potential work commitments in season 4.
Yeah, exactly. It hasn't been the most ideal seasons, but 4 wins is never something to be ashamed about. But the consistency with only 5 top 10s is pretty average. So just need to, when I'm not winning, just get that consistency down. Apart from that, yeah, it's been a good season otherwise. And
what are you most looking forward to over the next couple of weeks, mate? I mean, there's a chance to get some shut-eye and catch up on some sleep, no doubt about that. There's some time to go out and be social. But at the same time, there's also a chance for you guys to take stock of where things are, look at the latest BOP update in iRacing, and then pick your weapon of choice for the new season.
Yeah, exactly. We might show up Thursday for Porsches, but apart from that, we'll take the week off, have fun working at the Sandown 500 this weekend. And take next week pretty cruisy.
Sandown 500, nice to see it back on the Australian Motorsport calendar just quietly. The Commentator's Choice Award has just dropped into the booth, ladies and gentlemen. Dale Sharp, we'll get to him in just a moment. In the meantime, sticking with you, Jordan, you've been here for a while now as far as GT4 is concerned. It's been a great entree on a Monday night. I can't wait to see what Term 4 brings. You must be looking forward to having a look at the calendar and seeing the challenge that awaits.
Yeah, certainly. GT4, they're one of my favourite cars, so whatever happens to it, I'll still be here running it.
Very nicely done. And what else will we see you popping up in, apart from the Porsche on Thursday night? What else have you got your eye on at the moment?
It's probably about it so far. Leagues are pretty quiet at the moment, so we'll probably won't be back until the new season.
All right, mate. Very nicely done. Congratulations on your success tonight. Controlled the race beautifully. Let Sam Chapman and Jared Knight fall into your lap there. I mean, it was interesting strategy play because there was a bit of cat and mouse going on with regards to how much fuel we took on in that first stop, and that, of course, allowed the strategy to play out in the second stop. So well done on that, and look forward to seeing what you bring to the table next season, and even again on Thursday night when we get to the island, mate. Thanks for that.
Awesome. Thank you, guys.
There he is, Jordan Malcolm. Sam Chapman, close but no cigar, my friend. That was quite an effort, though. You did everything you needed to do. You beat Sam Muir. The rest just didn't fall into place. You didn't finish far enough down the ledger to turn the deficit around, mate. But still, second after a season like that, well done.
Yeah,
and that's how tight it was on your screen too, just quietly, ladies and gentlemen. There it is, final standings. Jordan Malcolm third home. He's just left the booth. Jared Knight fourth. Nick Photiadis did get that top 5 over Michael Hammond and Gary Cousins. So the Aussie Racer boys 5, 6 and 7. Greg Pavel, who wasn't here tonight. Nick Wood, despite the misfortune of tonight. And Oliver Patterson, despite not being here tonight, made up the top 10. But Sam Muir is the champion, and you'll hear from him in just a moment. Chapo, analyse your night for me, please.
Yeah, just the same rubbish I did in Road America. Double tap my pit speed limiter coming out, and and that's how I ended up behind Jared. And sort of, I think the rest of that race was history from there. I probably underfueled a little bit for the final stint, so I was trying to chase down Jordan with one hand tied behind my back a little bit, knowing full well with Sam in fourth, I needed to win, get fastest lap and 0 exit to draw the championships. So yeah, couldn't quite make it there, but congrats to Sam. He's been brilliant all season, and Jordan for winning the race. He's won a lot of races this season, and all the guys, like Jared and that as well. It's been great fun this season.
Yeah, it certainly has, mate. And you obviously you were a force in GT4 last season, a force again this season. It just makes you hungry to come back and try and go one step better next time. I'd take it.
Yeah, absolutely. And once again, I've got to rock up to all the races, and my internet's got to rock up to all the races.
And not go on holidays on race weekends. Yes.
Yeah,
you need pedals at all the races.
No, that was, it turns out I was a bit too eager on that front. Definitely pedals are a must. Did what we could today. That buffer was just a bit too much.
All right, mate. Very nicely done. I was going to say, your point there about the double tap on the pit limiter, that just goes to show you how close this championship is, and it is very much a game of inches.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm surprised I didn't get overtaken in that sort of first few laps, to be honest, because I was shaking like a leaf. A couple of guys almost did, but the fortunate thing about starting in pole in Magny-Cours is usually everything goes on behind you to start with, and there's a bit of mischief.
Indeed there is, mate. Hey, well done on that. I've got to fly here because I've got Dale Sharp, Joe Baldwin and Sam Muir to get to, and we're running out of time. Congratulations again. Great season. Look forward to seeing you in Term 4. And if not, we might even see you on Thursday night as well, because there's a couple of ledges to be squared there too, I believe.
Yeah, I think we'll come back for Thursday night. Have a rip around in the Astons. Thanks, Zach.
And hello to Chris Whitaker, who's tuning in at the moment on that note as well. See you, Chapo. Thanks, mate. Sam Muir, congratulations, mate. The task was pretty simple. Finish 7th or higher and win the title. Finish lower than 7th and run the risk of being beaten at the post. But you brought it home in 4th place. Well done. Championship secured. You joined the honour roll of GT4 champions on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club, and you did it with consistency, mate. Well done.
Yeah, cheers, Zach. Been in and out of the GT4s for the past couple of seasons, but never really competed in a full season. Always happened to miss, 3 or 4 rounds, but decided to make it a bit of a priority this season and go for the win. So it was good to sort of meet that objective and get a GSRC title. It feels nice.
Isn't it nice to put the season together when you commit to doing so and seeing how it plays out and proving how it can be done and how it should be done?
Yeah, definitely. It was good to make it to. I think I still missed maybe 1 or 2 rounds over the course of the season. That's
what the drop rounds are for.
Exactly right. But and as you said, it was just a matter of consistency. It was far from a dominant season. I think I only got the 1 win overall, but we managed to get enough podiums and that sort of thing, and finish consistently at the front to get the title.
Stay with us here, folks. GT3 from America standing by. Road America, that is. Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin. We're talking to the GT4 champion in Sam Muir. They kept you honest tonight, but then again, you knew the equation. You knew you just had to keep your nose clean and stay out of trouble. So there was no point in risking it, was there?
Nah, exactly. Almost got caught up in a little bit of mischief there early on, but
Start, yes.
yeah, thankfully I was able to avoid that. And then from there, the top three were gone, and then I had a nice gap back to me as well. So yeah, sort of thought about underfueling for that first stop to get back in the fight, but then I thought, yeah, why bother? It's only going to be putting me in danger. So yeah, just sort of sat back and took it cruisy and did what we had to do.
I don't want to alarm anybody, but Nat Dench has accepted the challenge, ladies and gentlemen, of running the Ford GT, and it might not surprise anybody to learn that he's on provisional pole at the moment. That's GT3 coming up from Ride America in just a few moments. Hey, chap, Sam Newer, coming back to you. Congratulations. How do you spend the rest of this week as far as wrapping up Term 3 is concerned, and then how do you prepare for Term 4?
Yeah, I think we've got Porsche Cup on Thursday, so I think Sam Sproul's probably got P2 wrapped up, but we'll give it a crack to see if we can get best of the rest behind M. Dench in that, and then, yeah, excited to see what's going to be on the agenda for GT4s next season. We'll do a bit of testing, see if we stay in the Merc or go over to the Porsche or something different.
Actually, that should be the title on the trophy, as far as I'm concerned. Best of the rest, first, second, and third. Best of the rest. Just give Denchy the perpetual, and then everybody else fights for the best of the rest. I like the idea. Any thoughts or mindsets on changing from the Porsche, mate, or if it's a winning formula, if it's not broke, don't fix it?
Yeah, the Merc sort of seems to suit me in the GT4s, but yeah, at the same time, I've been running it for a while now, and those Porsches were super quick this year, so I'll try and give them a go, and if it suits, then yeah, we'll give it a crack next year, see if we can win the title again, but in a different car.
All right, mate, very nicely done. Got to fly. Congratulations. We'll talk again on Thursday night when you join us for the Porsches.
Cheers, Zach, and congrats to Sam Chapman and Jordan Malcolm on the podium as well. Cheers.
And aren't you lucky you get to wear the number one next term in GT4? Very nicely done. Thank you, Sam Muir. Dale Sharp, congratulations. Commentator's Choice Award. Thanks for stopping on by to have a chat to us, mate. Perseverance pays off. You got yourself a top 10 to finish the season.
Yeah, thanks, Zach. I'm happy with that. Like, it's, I think it's the first time I've ever had a top 10 in these, in this endurance race, but no, I'm really happy with that.
Absolutely. Now, you've chipped away. You started lower to the BMW. You've enjoyed that challenge. What awaits next term? Are you going to stick with the Beamer? If it's not broke, don't fix it. I mean, it hasn't been the strongest car all season. Nick Wood did get one win out of it. What's your mindset? What's your focus? What's your thoughts going into the off season, the little mid-semester break we've got coming up here?
Yeah, Beamer all the way, mate. Like, it's a bit weird. Like, no one seems to like it, but I've driven the other ones, and I just can't beat my lap times. Yep. In the other cars that we're doing the Beamer, it suits my driving style. It's, you know, you can attack the curbs in it. You know, stay stable. So yeah, I'll just stick with that, mate.
I know Gran Turismo is nothing in the ballpark of iRacing, but I must say, when I was getting well acquainted with the last incarnation on the PS4 platform during COVID, that was the car, the BMW. That was the car that I stuck with in GT3 form, not GT4. But yes, I can understand the loyalty to BMW on your part. Must be looking forward to seeing what the calendar looks like and sussing out where we're going and how it's going to fare for you, because not all tracks suit that BMW, it's fair to say.
Yeah, that's right. Like, it just comes down to driving style, I think. Like, yeah, just the car sort of suits me. As for the tracks, well, yeah, there are some tracks I'm further off the pole time than others, and some of them a bit closer. But we just have a go, mate. You know, like, it's good fun, and I think this is one of the most competitive fields in the GSRC, and you know, you really learn how to drive when you're rubbing shoulders with some of these guys, you know. So yeah, I hear a rumour it might be changing a little bit next season, but yeah, whatever they do, I'll be there.
And from a personal standpoint, mate, the way in which you've chipped away at it and have improved, and as a performer, as a driver, you must be proud of that too.
Yeah, I'm pretty happy with that, and it's largely thanks to the other drivers in the club. Like, I can't quite get those guys at the front. They're in a you know, they're in a different league. I mean, they're elite, but you know, when you can find yourself on their bumper, or you know, next to them, or you know, that's who you're measuring yourself against. You know, like, so if you can get within arm's reach of them. You just need sort of something to happen ahead, and maybe you're there. But it's all good fun, mate. Just love the racing there.
Go and enjoy the rest of the night, mate. Thanks for stopping on by to have a chat to us. We do appreciate that, and well done on the top 10 tonight.
No worries. Thanks, Zach.
All right, there he is, Dale Sharp. Let's quickly get to... There's chat and banter going on across the Discord channels, and I keep getting the notifications regarding this week and some broadcasts that we're planning for you, ladies and gentlemen. More on that at the back end of the broadcast. I've got Liam Banks standing by. I've got Joe Baldwin here as well. Tucker, the Aston was good around there, but unfortunately mathematics brought you undone, mate. That being said, the GT4 Championship is as competitive as it's ever been. There's rumours circulating that we're reinventing the wheel with the format next term. More on that on Thursday night. But you must be looking forward to the challenge of what lies ahead, and you must be looking forward to having a look at, whether it's the Bimmer or the McLaren or the Merc or the Porsche, or whether you stick loyal to the Aston. You've got an opportunity now to go and scout the talent, as they say.
Look, I'm going to remain pretty loyal to the Aston. I'm slowly starting to get my head around it. And just if Dale's still listening, that was a fantastic race. I enjoyed that race with Dale. So, unfortunately, I come up 2 litres short, but that's what she said. But I'm not going to confirm nor deny just yet what GT4 is doing for next season, but I'll certainly be there. Unfortunately, that... progressive, civilised, whatever thing you reckon with the daylight saving thing's going to kick in effect for me shortly. So,
yes,
race 1 on any given night is going to be out of the question for me now. So I'll, not sure what main games I'll get to run next season, but we'll revise it and do what we can.
Yes, well, actually, Trucker, I must say it's just over 6 weeks now before I come over to the West Coast. I'm looking forward to catching up with you. I'm looking forward to being in a part of the world where that time difference makes a lot more bloody sense. And,
absolutely.
And in the meantime, mate, thanks as always for your efforts throughout the course of the term. We're going to chat to you on Thursday night in more detail, not just with regards to the 2 races. We've got the Astons first up and then the Porsche second up. And then, of course, you're going to join us when we talk about what's on the agenda for term 4, mate. So we appreciate that. And sorry we couldn't spend longer talking to you tonight.
That's fine. I didn't feature prominently in the championship, and it's good that we had the guys who did are here. So you can head off now and do the GT3 Pro Series at that Road America. Wonderful track, wonderful venue. So, have a good call, and we'll see you on Thursday.
Wonderful track, wonderful venue, just not your favourite car, Joe. We know that. That's all good, mate. See you Thursday. Thank you.
I might have made the similar purchase to one Mr. Nick Fody artist for the Bailey Ladders.
Nice.
What is it? I think that isn't that a Ferrari, the new one?
It
I don't
is.
know. We'll wait and see what happens.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, you never know. It's a fun car, but I'll leave you to it, guys. I'll see you. Bye.
Thank you, mate. All the best. There is Trucker Joe Baldwin. Right, it's 85 minutes tonight. Server's going to end around about 6 o'clock local time, give or take, because of the fact that we are shrinking the distance, the duration by 5 minutes here. It's a 6.5 kilometre circuit. Matt Dench is on pole position alongside Simon Cox, Richard Mitchell, Wayne Hewitt the second row, Oscar Glissett and Thomas Martin the third row, Glenn Arnott and Daniel Birchall the fourth row, Dave Riddell and Jared Knight the fifth. Over the page we go. Jonathan Hooper and Rob Hill the 6th, Nick Wood and Adam Chiplin the 7th, Reece Dickinson, Alan Holgerson the 8th, Gregory Brooks, John Wright the 9th, Scott Wood and Aaron Cooper the 10th, and David Christensen makes up the field. You might notice there's a few different manufacturers out there tonight. The Ford of Matt Dench is on pole. Oh, yeah, I love that. The Merc and the Bimmer, Simon Cox and Richard Mitchum follow. Oscar Glissett's in a Porsche. Daniel Birchnell's in a Ferrari. 5 different manufacturers in the top 10, if you don't mind, ladies and gentlemen. There are only 5 of them in the race. Liam Banks is alongside me here in Central Commentary. This is the final round of Waste Options GT3 from Elkhart Lake.
Oh, what's over here?
We've got Nick Woods pulled up on the formation lap. I'm not sure what's going on there. Matt Dench has accepted the Ford challenge, so let's see how it plays out. He's not mucking around. Takes off. Let's get to work. Final round of Waste Options GT3 on a Monday night for Term 3. They're gone to Term 1. And Dench takes off. Catch me if you can. Simon Cox goes with him. Richard Mitchum and Wayne Hewitt. Not terribly sure what happened there to Nick Wood on the formation lap, but he's dropped 8 spots already and is playing catch-up for the rest of the night. You saw the championship points on the screen there. We're worried about the implications of the battles for the minor placings because the job is done for the Ford. At the top end of town, well, not so much the Ford, but the driver of the Ford in Matt Dench, who wrapped up the title last week in the McLaren and now is out there to have some fun and potentially score half points and extend his championship winning margin regardless. Down the inside went Richard Mitchum and trying to get by Simon Cox, couldn't get it done. Now, Liam Banks is here and I can catch my breath. Good evening to you, mate. Well done on the top 5 in GT4. We might talk about that a little bit later on. Here we go, grand final night. And the interest now is really what Dench can do with that Ford as we see Rob Hill drop down the road out there at the exit of turn 6.
Yeah, well, the thing, thanks for the introduction there, the thing with the Ford is it is quick. It's not the outright pace necessarily, that's why it's out of favour. It's difficult to drive. That's why it's out of favour, right? It's not so much that it's that much slower, but it's hard to go fast consistently because it tends to want to eat you up and swallow you whole, kind of like a pet dragon or a Black Widow spider if it was gigantic and could eat you whole. That sort of thing. That's trouble. And that is Dave Riddell. Dave Riddell's gone off. He's fallen down the field.
And he was lucky not to take everyone else with him. We've seen mass pile-ups, mammoth pile-ups at Canada Corner in the, at the carousel and the kink in the past, heading down towards Canada. We've seen the track blocked there in the past. Thankfully, Dave Riddell didn't do that on this occasion, but he's dropped 12 spots right to the back of the running order.
What a start for Twitchyfoot Racing.
Ooh. Drama aplenty. Riddell and also Nick Wood in trouble on the opening lap, and now Riddell's parked it down at Canada.
So the other thing I'll say about the Ford
at Canada
is the best thing about the Ford is the straight line speed, is it not?
That'll work in Dench's favour here. That's probably why I accepted the challenge.
Yeah, convenient that it's a horsepower track, but we won't hold that against him. He's
not
definitely
going to hold it against him. We just want to see a Ford on top of a GT3 race. GSRC history awaits here, ladies and gentlemen. No doubt about that.
He might try and use the loophole that he's now won a championship in the Ford, so we'll have to try not to let him have that.
No, we might. No. We're not going to let him have that at all. We're going to let him have a race win, absolutely. But actually, this might just give us enough leverage to try and persuade him to have a crack in the Ford next term. Although that being said, I'm waiting to see how many. It might become the Ferrari Cup on a Monday night next term. Down the inside goes Aaron Cooper, hoping for a much better run than what he had in GT4. Matt Dench leads the way. Simon Cox, Richard Mitchum, Wayne Hewitt, Thomas Martin, Oscar Glissett. Can we have a look at the track and weather conditions there, please, Adam? Because I did not get a chance to have a look at that little totem pole. As I said, we're going to head towards 6 o'clock server time because clock is moving twice as fast as it would in the real world. So it's currently sitting on 3:11 local time there at Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin. 22 degrees, 32 on track, partly cloudy conditions. Humidity, I'll tell you in just a moment when that comment disappears from behind. But in the meantime, Brian Arnott and Daniel Birchnell.
Daniel Birchnell coming off much worse for wear. He's all the way down to 20th and the back of the field with Dave Riddell, who we saw having an incident earlier. Not sure what happened there. Well, sure, we'll try and bring you footage of that when we can. Currently on screen, we've got Thomas Martin. He's in 5th place, up 1 spot, defending from Oscar Glissett, who's had a very, very strong season, and we're looking to finish it off with another top 5.
60% humidity there at the moment, ladies and gentlemen. Now, the other point is we're 4 minutes into an 85-minute race. If you're just joining us and wondering why, we're starting earlier than the scheduled 8:45 that we advertised on Thursday night. iRacing maintenance kicks in at 10 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time, which would have cut the race short. We didn't want that garbage. So to compromise, we shortened both races by 5 minutes. We started 10, 15 minutes earlier on broadcast tonight to get out of here by just before 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time so that the iRacing servers can go down without impacting us in any way, shape or form. So just make a note of that. 85 minutes, the new scheduled time length of the grand finale here from Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin. It could be all the difference in the end. Simon Cox, the fastest lap of the race, 204.136. 3 different manufacturers in the top 3 at the moment. Oscar Glissett has the first of the Porsches in 6th place. Then down we go to Scott Wooden in the Ferrari. First place to the Ferraris at the moment in 16th. We'll have some replays for you in just a moment, ladies and gentlemen, but I can inform you that all 21 that started are still running, and they'd want to keep running as well. The first round of pit stops. This should be a 3-stopper based on what we've seen so far this season, and the first of those will be scheduled around that 20 to 25 minute mark.
Yeah, it certainly will. It'll be interesting to see what Matty Dench is able to do from the front fuel saving wise. We know he's a magician when it comes to saving fuel. But currently, he's on a track with very long straights, and he's the only person not getting a tow. So Simon Cox, Richard Mitchell, Wayne Hewitt, Thomas Martin, Gleiser, other than that, behind him, they're all benefiting from having Dench lead this race. If he's going to stick with them, he's probably going to need to find a way to save fuel an equal amount to these guys without having the benefit of the slipstream. He's done it before, so we're not going to rule it out, but it's going to be difficult for him, and that is Rob Hill going off track. I think he just about touched the wall there, but seems to have got away without serious damage. He'll return to the track ahead of Dave Riddell and behind Daniel Birchnell. Good to know that after that incident, Nick Wood did carry on. He did get onto the track. He is currently in 17th spot, down 4 places. He's made life difficult for himself, but he is in the pack. He's no longer detached. He is right behind Scott Wooden, who is in a battle pack that basically goes all the way up to 8th place, which is Glenn Arnott. The packs just not separating here because of those big slipstreaming opportunities. They're just keeping everybody nice and close. It's going to be really difficult, really strategic battle to get a good result here tonight. And this is go on.
No, you're right. Glenn Arnott there in the BMW. In 8th place at the moment. There are 4 of them in the top 10. Mitchum, Martin and Knight, the other 3. Oh, a little bit of a blink in and out moment. Blinky Bill's arrived. It's Glenn Arnott this time round, ladies and gentlemen. That's not boding well for the rest of the night, let's be perfectly honest. Still a Porsche-dominated field, though, Liam Banks, when you look at the running order. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 in the field out of 21. 27 the Monopoly. There are 2 Ferraris. There are, I believe, 5 Bimmers. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 Mercs, and, of course, the Porsche. The Ford, I should say. The Ford GT of Matt Dench at the top end of town. So it's all happening. Early stages of the grand final night, the dead rubber grand final night for Waste Options GT3 from Road America. I don't know what we do to curtail Dench's dominance to reinvent the wheel and ensure that we get a live grand final next season. Maybe it is that we let him run the Ford. I don't know. He'd probably still come out and towel him up with a round to go. But that says a lot about the skill and the class of the bloke, doesn't it? The way in which he can take on this challenge, even though we've kind of backed him into a corner and said, do it. He can take it on and enjoy it with open arms and embrace it and still, horsepower heavy circuit, put it on pole position, that's fine, we'll give him that. But there's a certain class and skill set required to drive the thing through the technical parts of this circuit, and there are a couple of those.
Yeah, there certainly are. We're just watching Jonathan Hooper getting swallowed by the pack there. Yeah. Adam Chiplin at the head of that pack. Then it's Hooper somehow managed to stay second in the pack. I thought he was going to lose another 3 positions there, but he might still, because those cars are mighty close and they're going to get one hell of a slipstream down the straight. And looking to benefit is Oscar Gleiser, Jared Knight, Glenn Arnott, and Jonathan Hooper, Holgerson. They're all in there, all in blue-coloured Porsches or Mercedes.
And that's the thing as well, Liam. When one gets past here, the floodgates open. That's just trademark Road America racing, isn't it? Especially when you're tightly bunched in a pack like this, it's easy. Once you drop one, to drop the lot.
Absolutely, it's like driving. It's like racing the Formula V's on just about any track in iRacing. If you get out of sync, if you lose a position, you're usually offline, and then by the time you get back into the slot, back actually behind a car in front, directly behind, you've lost so much time in so many positions that you're just absolutely screwed, and you got to do it all again. But then you're at the back of the pack, and they can't get away because you're now getting a slipstream. So you do have opportunities to get those positions back. The trick is to keep your head, keep cool, and trust that if you keep it on the black stuff, you will get opportunities to make overtakes because others will make mistakes. And just to that point about trying to get a live final, the thing is, this isn't entertainment, it's sports. And sports is entertaining, but every so often we're going to get domination like Matty Dench in the GSRC, particularly in the GT3s. It's up to everybody else to step up to him. I don't know how they do that, but they need to do it. It's on them.
Hooper flirt with danger there.
Absolutely he did.
I don't know about flirted with it. He gave it his number and asked him to call him back, I think. Well, this is Cooper we're watching now. He's second in this battle pack with Jonathan Hooper just ahead of him. So it looks like Holgerson, Honor, and Jared Knight. They managed to get ahead of this pack. So it's just Cooper there, and we're going to bring you a replay of what happened to Nick Wood at the start of the race.
Well, hopefully we'll find out exactly what happened. Here he is, coming up towards turn 14. It's bizarre. Oh,
He's just done it. He's... Oh, no.
He just looped himself. Cold tyres. See you later. Thanks for coming. Wow.
So, interestingly, there was a bit of gap from them to the pack ahead, so not sure why they left such a big gap, because the race hadn't started yet.
Oh, well, that's true too. That was Rob Hill bringing himself undone. 2:04.1 remains the benchmark from Simon Cox. We're already on lap 6 at Road America.
Well, that's really
how lucky for Dave Riddell not to take anyone else with him. Oh, wow.
He lost that so early in the King.
He did. He did. And all on his own too. It's important to note.
Back to live pictures, that's Nick Wood getting past Gregory Brooks. So he's recovered to be only one spot down from his qualifying position of 13th, which means he's currently in 14th. And look at that nice, healthy pack of cars he's got ahead of him. Only 1.3 seconds to go, so we'll be getting a bit of the slipstream effect. And then he'll be in a battle pack that goes all the way up to 10th.
Dench, Cox, Mitchum, Hewitt and Martin at the moment, the top 5. Glissett is 6th. Movers so far, Jared Knight up 3, Owen Holgerson up 7 and Aaron Cooper up 10, Reece Dickerson up 4, John Wright up 5. Nothing else beyond that worth mentioning just yet, but Aaron Cooper's on a charge early in the piece, up 10 spots. That's really impressive. Have a look at the Hot Wheels livery for Dench. He's just rubbing it in now, isn't he? Absolutely rubbing it in. Up onto the main straight, another lap in the books.
Yeah, but interestingly, look at
sticking with him.
Look at that gap. That gap to Simon Cox has barely got above half a second, which tells me Simon Cox is deliberately sitting behind him, just saving fuel. I think if he wanted to get past him, given he's been able to stick so close, he would have done so by now. So I'm not convinced that Dench is actually the fastest car in this race. He might be. Might be that Simon Cox staying with him because of the slipstream, but I'd expect the gap to grow a bit if Simon Cox wasn't legitimately there with him on pace. I think he's got a battle on his hands tonight.
Are you trying to claim that Cox is going to try and out Denchy?
It's a risky strategy, isn't it? It's a bit like Perez trying to out Verstappen by using his setups, and it's not gone well for Perez, but maybe Simon Cox is different. You know, not being South American. Ugh, come on, Helmet. Anyway, we now got Daniel Birchnell trying to defend from David Christensen. Interesting to see David Christensen up 3 spots, so he must start at the back of the field. I wonder if he did put in a representative qualifying time or whether he just bottled qualifying and now he's just on the recovery trail.
So Dench, the leader. The pack is looming large. Mitchum, Hewitt and Martin. Now, that's the interesting thing as well. We're going to get a real... So there it is, 7 by GT3. We can give him 7 by Porsche as well. 1 by GT4, GT Champ, E, etc., etc., etc. The list is endless. There's not enough room on the totem pole. 1 hour and 11 to go here, so we're only 14 minutes into the piece. We're on lap 7 at Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin. The famed Road America circuit, 6.5 kilometres long. We know it, we love it. It's probably overused in the opinion of one N Fodiatis. However, in this particular instance, we are loving the fact that we've got a live, active race here. The championship might be done. There are battles for the minors that we'll keep an eye on as well. We'll keep an eye on GT3 and throughout the course of the night. But we're all invested and interested in this because here, Liam Banks, yep, we know the Ford's got outright pace, 1 lap pace in the hands of Matt Dench. Does it have durability over 85 minutes? That's the big challenge. That's the big question, the uncertainty that will be answered over the course of the next 70 minutes or so.
Yeah, and what I meant to answer that question other than Matty Dench. If Matty Dench can't do it, then you know just about nobody on iRacing is going to be able to do it. So we will have an answer by the end of tonight. And one thing I like about him driving the Ford is because it is twitchy, because it is a car that does like to bite the hand that feeds, we're never going to be quite as sure he's going to win. Even if he does pull out a lead, even if it's looking good for him, the odds of just something happening that means he crashes are just that ever so slightly higher than they were when he was in the McLaren like it was for most of the season, which is a nice benign car. So that's good. That's good. It's going to keep us interested. But actually keeping us interested at the moment is Cox, Mitchell, Hewitt, Martin, Glycett, because they are all in that lead pack.
$69 minutes to go. Ford, Merc, BMW, Porsche. The running order at the moment. Glissett's latching on to this pack as well. Mitchum trying to stick with Cox. If Mitchum loses the toe here, could be dangerous. But,
I recognise.
He's under pressure from Wayne Hewitt, and that's his biggest problem at the moment, Richard Mitchum. We've picked up John Wright here, Banksy. We've got him in 13th. He's got Nick Wood for company, and they're trying to stick with Jonathan Hooper.
Yeah, it certainly is. And I'm hoping actually we can talk a little bit about the battle for second and third, because I believe even though first isn't live, second and third is still live in the championship, if I'm right. And I believe they're all in that lead pack, so that could be good to follow throughout the race. But at the moment, we're following John Wright, who's in 13th place, up 5 positions. So he's had a barnstorming start to the race. Benefited from a couple of spins ahead, but certainly there's a couple of genuine overtakes in there, I have no doubt. And he's got Hooper ahead of him. And look at them, even in 13th, 14th, 15th, in the pro split, they're using all of the track, which just goes to show you the quality of drivers that we have got in this field, all the way down to Adam Chiplin in 21st place, who made an early pit stop, so look for him to come back up the field when everybody is cleansed. And that looks like it's Nick Wood diving in for an early stop. 1 hour, 8 minutes past, so that must be the first time you can stop and get home in 2 more stops.
I didn't quite hear what they were saying, but just after they had the driver briefing, some of the drivers were trying to bring it to race control's attention that they were getting black flags in practice in the pit lane, even when they weren't speeding by the cone. So it might be something to keep an eye on with the pit lane here. It might be a new iRacing feature. Parentheses.
When we say feature, we mean burden, don't we? Yes, interesting. Just another glitch in the system. Tension Cox, the leaders at the moment. Richard Mitchum flying the flag for the Europeans in third. Our favourite Singaporean-based Brit expat. Actually, on the subject of Great Britain and expats, the Aussies are lining up over there to have a crack at Wheel of Fortune, apparently, with Graham Norton. True story. Wheel of Fortune coming back to Australian screens next year. I suspect it'll be Network 10 because it'll tie in with their broadcast agreement with the Graham Norton show. Wheel of Fortune back on Australian television screens, but with a twist, much like Jeopardy on Channel 9, being filmed in the UK with the UK host, Stephen Fry for Jeopardy, but with Australian input, with Australian expats as contestants. So there's one to keep an eye on. 1 hour and 6 minutes to go here at Road America. If you're just joining us, it's Monday Night Motorsport on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club across Facebook, Twitch and YouTube. It is the last one of term number 3, as far as Monday night is concerned. But stay with us because there's so much more still to come throughout the course of this grand final week for term 3 or season 14, depending upon what count you're going by. In comes Jared Knight. We pick up Scott Wooden in 16th place, Banksy.
There is a lot to come this week, lots of finales to bring you, but the thing I'm most excited for is to get those details of what is coming next season. Yeah. I think it's been a good season for the GSRC, and if the rumours I've heard about next season are correct, then that is going to be mouth-watering. So I'm looking forward to hearing confirmation on Thursday night, and on Thursday night you can catch the dulcet tones of Zach, who is of course one of the pieces of furniture here at the GSRC. Has been around for so long now, and
that's probably the nicest thing anyone's ever called me too.
And well, I didn't say what piece of furniture. No, and the right. And the Porsche Cup, another one of the pieces of furniture of the GSRC, one of the strongest championships in the league, and again being I don't know if it's being dominated by Denchi, but it's certainly in the lead of the championship, is he not? Or am I wrong on that?
Denchi in the Porsche.
In the Porsche, yeah. He's not quite as dominant as he, but pretty much. I'm pretty sure he's mathematically got it done. It's not as defiant as it was for the GT3s. A little bit closer. The guys in the Porsche Cup the Porsche Cup. The guys have got to a point where they're starting to get close to him on pace, but he's still got that little edge and strategy on him. So they're bridging that gap. So he's just going to keep his eye on his mirrors because they're coming for him.
Yeah, excellent. So that's something to look forward to on Thursday night in particular, and certainly sounds like something to look forward to next season, because we might get a live championship battle there for the first time in a few years. Might just be enough. Someone might have the pace to actually dethrone Denchi in the Porsche Cup, so tune in for that on Thursday, and I assume it will be continuing on next season in some capacity. And we're just seeing a few more leaders dive into pit. Simon Cox and Richard Mitchum. So despite getting the slipstream from Matty Dench, they both decided to pit first, which is very interesting tactically. We will have to wait to see how that plays out.
Denchi's been...
Indeed we will.
Both of them
So
have been-
Dench continues on, Hewitt, Martin, Glissett, but Cox, Mitchum and Arnott are all in.
They're all doing very consistent low 2-minute fours at the front there, so they're all very similar pace at the moment, so it's a very close race here. So strategy may be the deciding factor in this race for some of these guys, so keep an eye on that.
It must be disheartening when you think, yes, I'm with Denchi on pace, and then you realise that he also is generally the best tactician in the field, and you can't just rely on as long as you've got the pace beating him on tactics, because he's just as good as that as the others. He's definitely more of a Red Bull compared to a Mercedes. He gets everything right, unlike Mercedes, who seem to don't always get the tactics right and let Red Bull get the odd win. No, this isn't Hamilton dominance, this is Verstappen dominance. We are seeing from Denchi every bit of his game is on point, and it's going to take somebody else equally on point to actually get the victory over him in any one race, let alone across a season-long contest.
2:04.072, fastest lap of the race. That's a pretty ominous sign, isn't it, for the rest of the competition. Catch me if you can. Wayne Hewitt, 3.7 down the road. We expect these guys, I would imagine, gentlemen, on pit road this time by, gauging everything else that's going on out there with all the other competitors. The fact that they're already have transited the lane, Cox, Mitchum, Knight, etc. Top 14 yet to stop. So maybe this time by, maybe next time by at very latest. 62 minutes left on the clock. When they come back up towards the line, they're in. Dench is in. Let's go. 2, 3, 4, they all follow. Pit lane's about to get very, very busy.
It certainly is, and crucially, Cox, Mitchum, Knight, they all came out in clean air, so they've been able to use their pace, not getting caught up with any of the back markers, that, as far as I can see on the timing screens. It'll be interesting to see what Denchi does here. Might he just short fuel a little bit, see if he can get out ahead of the slipstream, and then use this stint to try and pull away?
He's attacking there. Denchi's not, like, flirting with not using the speed limit, doing 73, the other guy's on 71.
There you go.
He's trying to eke every little piece out.
Top 14 on the lane as we speak. Dench is on the march.
2 tyres straight away.
Let's go. 18 seconds, 18.6. He's gone. So they dropped him off the jacks before they released him. That's an interesting thing in iRacing, isn't it? Cox, Mitchum, Hewitt, Glissett, and Martin, the top 6 at the moment. Knight in 7th. Holgerson 8th. But Arnott's going to come through and claim 8th place. He's still on the black stuff. Everybody else making their way out of pit lane. Look at it. It's like peak hour on the Bruce, except actually moving effectively and efficiently. It's good. 61 minutes to go.
Yeah,
so and order, top 6 remain exactly where they started, boys.
So it's all in the transit time. So Denchi did an 18.6 pit stop. Coxie did an 18.4, so 2/10 in favour of Cox. But transit times, it's 56.8 compared to a 58.2. So that's where the gap is. It's all about that transit time and maximising that pit speed limit. And also attacking the lines. With that comes risk of getting those penalties. So you got to be on that edge, but not over it.
So, what lap battles have we got? We've got Richard Mitchum right behind Simon Cox, so that's not changed throughout the pit stops. They basically came out and resumed the battle as it was occurring before
if anything,
the pit stops.
If anything, Richard's just slightly closed the gap a little bit and opened the gap behind him.
Yes, very slightly. Tell you what though, Simon Cox has caught Denchi since they came out. They came out of the pits about 3 seconds apart, went down to 2.5 seconds after the first couple of corners. It's now at 1.8. So I think Simon Cox might just slip into Denchi's slipstream and be able to pull up towards him. So that'll be interesting if that is to occur. That would be game on.
All green sectors. Look at it.
Beautiful. Isn't it wonderful? And not just from Cox, but Mitchum as well is pulling him along with him. Only second between the two of them. They're now just 1.68 seconds behind Matty Dench.
But catching Dench is one thing. Passing him is quite another.
Yes, and how much fuel are they using to catch him?
Oh, exactly. Exactly right. And is he saving any along the way? Is he benefiting here?
You gotta believe it. I almost think he doesn't. Like, does he ever race without fuel saving anymore?
Well, true. Well, actually, by his own admission, last week he said there was no merit in fuel saving in the McLaren.
Fair enough.
At Bathurst, he said, let's get in and have a crack. That's why he won by 17 seconds.
17 seconds must be slipping.
Yes, true. Oh, he absolutely smashed them in the Porsches the other night as well. Dench, Cox, Mitchum, Hewitt, and Hewitt's got good company here because Glissett's right in behind, so too Martin and Knight. So that's a four-way battle, and it's live and active right now. And everyone there varied between 16, 17, 18, and 19 seconds with regards to the fuel time. So they're there or thereabouts as far as relative to everyone else is concerned, as far as that first round of pit stops goes. But for the guys that are following Wayne Hewitt here, Glissett, Martin, and Knight, a real chance to save a little bit of juice.
Yeah, absolutely. In this battle pack here, quite an intense battle. We've got Hewitt at the front of it in the Angry Pepper Mercedes. You've then got Gleiser, who we're following live on screen. Side Hustle Racing, black, pink, and blue, all of their cars. You've then got Thomas Martin behind him. So Thomas Martin is in the yellow and blue Beamer. Yellow and purple? We call that purple? Maybe. And then behind him in the light blue... Oh, I should know the name of that car by now. Should know the name of that team. In the light blue car is Jared Knight. Apologies.
It's probably more like a metallic royal blue.
We'll go with that. Your colour knowledge is far superior to mine, evidently.
I used to do science.
And what's the name of the team?
I'm not sure if he comes up. Well, here, Fisher Motorsport, apparently.
Fisher Motorsport. Oh no, behind him. What's the name of Jared Knight's team?
That's HCS. How this is random.
Thank you. I knew it. It was blanking me because they're one of the main teams in Endurance Championship, which I'm not sure exactly when the next round for that is. But if you want to see the HDS race boys racing, they usually have 3 or 4 teams in that.
So I saw a post from John Simpson today. They're doing like a non-championship race this weekend, just a 4-hour round Spa. So just like an exhibition race, given that some of the guys aren't doing other things, so just for some of the guys that are around. So there will be an endurance race for those who want to have a crack. There just won't be championship points on the offer. But the next one will be the start of next month, and I believe they're still going to do. Basically, the plan is there'll be 2 enduro races next month. I believe they're going to try and squeeze what would have been round 2 somewhere in the next month as well. So it'll be a double header of endurance racing next month, as the plan would be.
And I believe those races will be Road America and Road Atlanta?
I believe so. But I'm pretty sure I saw that this weekend's going to be a Spa race.
Okay, copy that. So the big tracks, The big tracks keep rolling on. Road America tonight. We've got Bathurst on Thursday night, Spa on the weekend. Happy days. Dench, Cox, Mitchum and Hewitt. That hasn't changed off the top, nor is Glissett and Martin. Jeez, that was flirting with danger.
Yeah, one of them touched the grass.
I think it might have been. So we've got Holgerson in 9th, Cooper 10th, Nick Wood 11th. The field fairly spread out between 8th and 12th. John Wright's got Jonathan Hooper and Daniel Birchnell for company. Brooks, Wood and Christensen. Christensen's got Rob Hill for company. Everyone else, forget about it. So this field a lot more spread out than we might have otherwise expected it. Richard Mitchum's within half a second of Simon Cox. They're still 1.2, so they're still just marginally, narrowly outside of that slipstream effect with Matt Dench at the moment. They're not getting the toe right now from Matt Dench, who leads in the Ford GT. How good is it to see? The Ford is on top. Oh boy, old Henry doing the thing here at Road America.
Certainly isn't it just beautiful to look at? I don't care what anyone says about which one's the best. The Ford is the best looking at it. Just look at that profile. Just
It just screams typical American sort of vehicle, doesn't it?
So since the pits ups, these guys are just slowly creeping on DT. They just need to try and get on that. They're flirting with that slipstream, but it's probably not quite there yet. But they're right on the edge.
The thing is, you don't know whether they're all pushing or whether Denchi's just dangling them there, dangling the carrot, but like, come on, and then as soon as they reach down to grab it, he just pulls the string, pulls the carrot a little bit further away, and then they take a few bumbling steps forward and he pulls it away again. Is that what's happening? Or is he drastically sprinting away with the carrot dangling behind him with the two guys going mad, trying to keep up? We just don't know. We just don't know.
I will say the Porsche guys should really take a lessons from the Ford guys with brake lights. The brake lights in that GT are very good. The Porsche cup lights, very bad.
And brake lights are important when you're racing, believe it or not. We do have them for a reason, and that reason is it's really hard to tell sometimes.
When we're racing Porsche Cup, we may as well be racing Formula 1. There's no brake lights. You cannot see them.
Yeah, absolutely cannot. And if you ever crash it at the start of your Formula 1 game, if you're playing the latest version of it, because you get caught out by the terrible
Do not get me started on the latest F1 game. My goodness gracious me. Everyone involved in that should probably give themselves the sack.
Oof. Hopefully, if you are working for Codemasters and you are a member of the GSRC, don't take what Zach says to heart. I'm sure you're very good at programming.
I haven't had any problems, but I haven't played for the last month or so, unless there's something happened in the update.
Well, the other day, gentlemen, and this is no word of a lie because I took evidence of it on Snapchat. There was a glitch in a career mode race at Spa that I evidently had to restart and do again because it was allowing you to firstly pass the safety car without any ramification, and therefore when it took control of the field, the safety car and the AI kicked in. It was black flagging, and then later, because it was a recurring offence, disqualifying drivers in the control of the AI, disqualifying drivers, including myself, for being too far away from the safety car because there are rules in place. So well done to them for sticking to the rules, but negative points for allowing them to pass the safety car in the first place. It's typical bloody glitch.
Like when you first started that story and you said that you didn't have to stay at the speed of the safety car, I thought surely Zach could just take advantage of that. But you got disqualified. That's why he's complaining.
Well, not only that. Well, I was going to say because actually no, I did take advantage of it because I was sitting in second at the time and used the fact that you could get away with passing under safety car conditions to my advantage to take it away. And that was where the problem was, because then I had it set that the AI kicks in and does the broadcast experience for safety cars. Otherwise, I probably could have just driven the race at full tilt until the end, and the race would have finished under safety car with everybody doing green flag lap times. But yes, had to restart it, and then had to restart it again because I had a puncture on a drying track in intermediate conditions. Anyway, 51 minutes to go. But yeah, no, there have been some terrible glitches with that game. You would have just thought they'd take all of 22 and apply it to 23 and work their way around from there. But no, it's like they've started again. It's a bit like society going out of COVID, right? And here's your politics box ticked on your Zach bingo card for the night, ladies and gentlemen. I've already ticked off daylight saving. Let's talk politics, right? It's a bit like, here we go, trouble. That's Gregory Brooks. That'll change the topic of discussion for a minute. Gregory Brooks has had a big one coming through turn 13. That car looks like it's going nowhere but the back of the garage.
He might get away with it because he's hurt the front of the car and the engine in the Porsche's in the back, so he might just get away with it. And how many times have we said that this season?
Well, he's probably lucky it's a sim too, because if this is real world, the Porsche would don't, because the Porsches have all their radiators there, and any front contact is just instant death for Porsches in real life. So he might get away with this one, luckily.
And he hasn't even decided to immediately pit. He's going to go for a lap around the circuit before, I imagine, pitting for repairs. But might be just decided to see if he can get to the next pit stop so he doesn't have to do an extra one. Just gets on the curb, unsettles the car, doesn't come off the accelerator enough to compensate for the bouncing from coming off the curb, and ends up in the wall. And that's a little pirouette to get back on the track. This is the battle pack with Oscar Gleiser at the front of it now. He's got Thomas Martin and Jared Knight right behind him. No change there. Martin's still ahead of Knight. The three of them separated by less than half a second currently. And I think that might be Martin making a move. He's certainly pulling to the, well, it'll be the outside. That'll be a brave maneuver here. No, just going to tuck in right behind him. Gleiser takes a little bit of a narrower line just to make sure Thomas Martin doesn't get any funny ideas. Next overtaking opportunity is going to be down into turn 1, but boys, that's going to be a good opportunity if you can stay right up at the rear end around the final corner which they approach. It's trickier than it looks. It's kind of it's a little bit blind on entry. It's really hard to get it right, and because the straight after it is so long, you can gain or lose so much time if you get it wrong. But all three drivers look like they've nailed it. What that means for Gleiser is he hasn't done enough to stay ahead of Martin. If he does decide he wants to make the overtake going into turn 1, he will easily have the slipstream to do so.
Matthew Dench, fastest lap of the race, 2:04.057. Get out of town.
Yeah, and that gap that was down to, what, 1.2 is up to 2.7.
Oh, it's ridiculous, isn't it?
The carrot has been pulled away just a little bit further this time.
It certainly has. Dench, Cox, Mitchum, Hewitt, Glissett. And Martin and Knight. That's the battle we've been watching. They're trying to go with Wayne Hewitt. They're slowly falling behind. Glenard, Holgerson and Cooper make up the top 10. Cooper's still the biggest mover of the race thus far, up 10 spots. Now, it's interesting, too, because they've had more losers than winners tonight in all of this. 7 for Holgerson, 10 for Cooper, 4 for Wright. Gregory Brooks is in the pit lane. That's no surprise. We've still got, to the field's credit, all 21 that started are still running. But Adam Chiplin's in serious danger of about to be going a lap down. To Matt Dench.
So Matt Dench putting in an absolutely epic lap here. I'll be interested to see what the lap time is because he's pulled out the gap out to Simon Cox to 3.2. And given Mitchum hasn't got past Cox, it makes me think that is Dench's speed rather than a mistake from Cox. So he's pulled out that gap another half second this lap. Some incredible pace in that Ford, just showing once again he proved it in McLaren, he's proving it in the Ford. It's not the car, it's the driver. There's a lot of talk about bop. These cars are close enough that if you're a good enough driver, you can overcome it. So drive what you want, drive it comfortably in, and that's going to make a bigger difference than trying to follow the bop.
Dench coming up onto the main straight. 38 minutes gone. We're not too far off half race distance here, ladies and gentlemen. If you're just joining us, we're 47 minutes away from the end of the road as far as Waste Options GT3 is concerned. Week 10, night 1, term 3. Nice to have your company wherever you're tuning in, all around Australia or indeed the world, on platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club. 2:03.977 for Matt Dench. He's taken us into the threes for the first time tonight. And take nothing away from the bloke. When we say he's a freak, we stand by it, and this is evidence of it. He's taking the Ford GT into uncharted waters at the moment. And everybody else is just looking on in awe. Simon Cox and Richard Mitchum must be wondering when they can catch a break.
Whilst they're going super defensive there into the left-hander, taking a narrow line. We've seen him do that a couple of times, so he's evidently feeling the pressure from Martin and Jared Knight behind him. The lap time's pretty good though, 2:04.5 is comparable to the drivers ahead, so he's managing to do it without losing too much time, which is the key to defending. If you're defending the guy behind you, but you're losing so much time that the car behind that car starts catching you, then you're not doing it right. You should be able to defend with losing minimal time, and Gleiser is doing an absolutely fantastic job of doing that, whilst also he's only 1.5 seconds behind Hewitt. So if he can put it together 1-2 really good laps, he can get into the slipstream of Hewitt, and then that's really going to help him defend from Martin and Knight, whilst also fuel saving himself. And talking about fuel saving, we're going to be approaching the second round of stops pretty darn soon. I expect the likes of Jared Knight to be in, perhaps at the end of this lap. or the next, given that there is a range of 9 to 11 laps for the first stop. And we're at lap 19, so if you pit on a lap 9, you're 10 laps into this stint, and 11 is the longest we saw anyone go. Last time around, certainly going to see Nick Wooden at the end of this lap. He pitted as soon as he could, and he's going to have to pay that invoice a little bit earlier than everybody else. And there he is. He's gone into the pit, so just confirming what I was saying. He's going to fall behind the likes of Birchnell, Dickerson, Wright and Hooper. And we'll see exactly where he comes out. But he'll be pretty happy. He's 2 spots up from his starting position, despite going off track before the race had even started. So that's a really good recovery from him, and he should be able to continue that in the next stint. Not as good a race as the 2 drivers ahead of him, though, which is Aaron Cooper, who's up 10 spots, and he's right behind Holgerson, only half a second between them, and Holgerson himself is up 7 spots. So they've gone from 16th and 20th to both be on the outskirts of the top 10, 9th and 10th. So brilliant races from there. So last stint, they'll look to consolidate that and maybe catch Glenn Arnott, who's only 2.5 seconds up the road from the pair of them.
Can't say any of it's terribly surprised. Sorry, Banksy. Can't say any of it's terribly surprised with how processional this has become.
It has become a little bit professional, but we're about to get the last stops, and then we'll see what the true state of the race is.
Are we done?
Maybe something will.
I think it's going to be 3 stops. Yeah.
Sorry, I do mean the next stops, not the last stops. The next stops. You're right.
Also,
not used to 3-stop races.
No, correct.
But also, I think it might be at this point might still be a bit of a stretch to say Nick would be happy after the lap 0 incident. But yeah, like, the more he recovers, the less the sting will be. Speaking from a driver's point of view, anyway. Tough.
Oh, trouble! Oscar Glissett loses 5th spot as Thomas Martin jumps up into the top 5. BMW displaces Porsche. We had 4 manufacturers in the 5 to that point. Now we don't anymore. 2 Porsches in the 10 though, and in comes Jared Knight for a second stop. The end of lap 20. Where the bloody hell did that go? 2:03.97, the benchmark from Matt Dench. We've made it to lap 20. We haven't had a retirement. We haven't had a big incident. We've had a couple of little moments, a couple of incidents for a couple of drivers, single vehicle crashes, but nothing major, which is good to report. Glenn Arnott into pit lane now as well.
Just got past the halfway point.
Oscar's trying to give you an incident.
Yeah, true.
Doing his best.
And also John Wright into pit lane at this moment in time, boys.
So halfway stage of the race, Matty Dench is in the lead. He's got Simon Cox 2.7 seconds behind him. The pace between 2 of them, it's Dench has got a little bit in hand, hasn't he? But he's not enough for him to really stretch that gap. 2.6 is not much, but last time we saw him grow that gap by about 2.5 seconds during the pit stop phase. So if he does that again, that'll get out to 5 seconds, and that will be a very commanding lead for Denchy in the Henry Ford. Then we got Simon Cox in second. He's having a really good race, but he's had Richard Mitchum right up his gearbox the whole of this stint. So it'll be interesting to see who comes out of the pit lane first between Cox and Mitchum, because I can imagine if Mitchum thinks he's got a little bit of pace in hand, he might decide to short fuel, get ahead of Cox to see if he can go chasing down Denchy. That's your podium, and they're looking quite set. So they've got 3.7 seconds to Wayne Hewitt behind him, who's more likely to fall into the clutches of Martin and Gleiser behind him, given that that gap has not been very big at any point during this race. And Martin and Gleiser have been able to stick with him, even if Gleiser has been trying to throw it off the track the last lap or 2. Just needs to settle down and make sure he gets through to the next pit stop. Behind them, Aaron Cooper and Holgerson. Holgerson is now in 7th place due to a couple of pit stops. He's 8 seconds behind Gleiser, but he was chasing down the driver ahead of him, which I believe was Jared Knight and Glenn Arnott. So it'll be interesting to see where they come out. And he's got Cooper right behind him, who's now up 12, but that'll go back down to up 10 once the pit stops are cleansed. Then there's a huge gap down to Daniel Birchnell, so that's the big gap in the field, the top 10 downwards basically, and Birchnell is the leader of that second pack. He is in 9th place, 14 seconds behind Cooper. Then you got Dickerson, Hooper, Wooden, Knight, Hill, Arnott, Christensen, Riddell, Wood, Wright, Brooks, and there's a mixture of drivers that have had scrappy races and drivers that have already taken their second pit stop there. So some of those drivers like Knight and Glenn Arnott will go back up the order, and others are just where they are correctly due to either just a being a bit off pace or having a little bit of a messy start to the race.
We ride on board with Dench. It's the first time that we've done this throughout the course of the night. I think now's a good time to actually go with Dench for a lap here, because we're at a very still, calm point of the race.
He may pit this lap though.
He may pit this lap. Yeah, that's true.
That's
right.
right.
The end of the 11 lap stint. Let's ride with him to pit lane. If he comes out, if he doesn't go to pit lane this time by, we'll ride with him for the next lap. But if he does, then we'll pick another time later in the race. But just listening to the Henry at work, it's a beautiful thing. It is an absolutely beautiful thing listening to the Ford GT at work here, and hearing it and watching it in the hands of the master of the club. Even better. Does Dench come to pit lane this time wide? Was 11 the threshold on the opening stint? Is that where we're going? Can he eke 12 out of it at any point? Or is he just going all guns blazing to prove a point to everybody tonight? Through they go, smashing the curbs, using all the track and a little bit more. Loves a challenge, this bloke. Yes, to pit lane. Right, we'll take a lap with Dench at a later point in time. But right now he's on pit road.
And Hewitt, Martin, Gleiser all diving into pit road behind him. We'll have to wait to see where Cox and Mitchum come out in relation. They both had 18, almost 19 seconds stop time, so we'll have a look at that pit time for Matty Dench, and I'm sure Adam will update us on the total transit time, which is where Dench seems to be able to perform magic in the pit stop sequence.
We're watching Simon Cox come around onto the main straight, having pitted on lap 21, so one lap earlier than Matt Dench. Dench is coming out. Dench is leading the race. That's no surprise to anybody. What's the margin, though? That's the unknown. As pit lane becomes very, very, very busy. 7.1 seconds. Matt Dench.
Dench is short field this time.
So, well, as he can do, because we're now past that 42 and a half minute mark. So he's gone about 4.5 minutes past that halfway distance. So that will enable him to long fuel next time by and go home. Now, so working backwards, let's have a look at that. 22 laps in about, we'll give him 46 and a half minutes. So there's another 20 at least where that came from, isn't it? Maybe 19.
So on your screen there, you got the last pit lap, then the stop time, then the transit time. So it looks like Thomas Martin's taken, I think, all 4 tyres in one stop. So that's why his stop would be longer than everyone else's. So instead of splitting his tyres over 2 stops, he's taken that bit of pain to do all 4 at the one stop. So by my rough calculations, gentlemen, right, and I stress rough on this particular instance because I'm clutching at straws here. The Zaculator's not cut out for 203s and 204s, right? I like simple, round, straightforward numbers, right? Dench, 22.7 laps gone. 204, let's base it on that, okay? So 15 laps is 30 minutes plus 1, so 31 minutes because 15 by 4 is 60, right? So let's base it on that. Then you get another 15 out of that. That takes you to 62 minutes. Then from there, I think because we've got 3 stops along pit lane, you're only going to get another 10 laps out of that, which is 20 minutes and 40 seconds. That gets you to, what did we say? That gets you to 82 point... actually, you might get another one. So we're looking at potentially... So if I'm saying 15 and 15 gets you to 62 minutes, right? Which makes sense because it's a 203 lap time around here. Throw in 3 pit stops. There's another, a minute or so blown off the clock. You've only got to get another 22 out of that, which could be 10, could be 11. Challenge accepted.
So, but if we're going on those numbers, 15 and 15 is 30. 10 gets you to 40 and 1 gets you to 41, yeah? 41 might just be enough to get the job done, in which case you're looking at a critical number of lap 30.
Trying to lower your ejaculations, 203.8.
Yeah, that's okay. The calculations are not taking in the roughness of the pit lane. I don't know the pit lane transit really, and 204s have been the sort of average tonight.
Oh, that's a really that's a bold move, a forceful move from Aaron Cooper to go up 11, getting past Glenn Arnott down the inside. It was quite a tricky left-hander at the best of times. It's one where it feels like you don't have quite as much grip as you do at the rest of the track, and it makes it very difficult to get around there and not have an incident. Certainly too wide. I'm surprised they managed to get through that. I thought that was an instant waiting to happen, which is just a testament to the skill of Cooper and Arnott to be able to get through there. And one thing that is interesting is, yes, Matty Dench upping the pace, but Simon Cox going with him and getting the fastest lap on the last lap at 203.7. So Simon Cox been keeping his powder dry just a little bit. He has closed that gap down from Matty Dench from almost 7 seconds, it was 7 seconds, to 5.5 seconds. We did see this at the start of last stint, Cox closing in, and then Denchy stretching it out at the end of the stint. We might see the same thing happen, but given Denchy's got to take on about an extra 3 seconds of fuel compared to Simon Cox, he's only 2.5 seconds off parity, is Cox right now. So game on at the front.
Yeah, I'm gonna stick with 41. I don't do it terribly comfortably, gentlemen, just quietly. I'm a little bit hesitant about that, but I think we're going 41. And looking at the clock, we're on 25, and we've got 33 minutes to go.
The pace has picked up. Top 3 all just did PBs.
203.67, 627 for Dench. Remember, there is a lot of carryover time here as well, so that could be that last minute or so could be the difference between going 41 or 42, but I don't think it's going to be 40. The pace is too good for it to be 40. Oh, a little bit of a touch there. Oscar Wilson squeezes through on the inside of Jared Knight. I'll get back to commentating racing rather than giving everybody a maths lesson. Matt Dench, 203.627. Simon Cox, 203.760. Richard Mitchum, 203.826. We're watching the battle for 4th. Wayne Hewitt, Oscar Glissett, Jared Knight. Thomas Martin's well back. Alan Holgerson has Aaron Cooper and Glenn Arnott for company. And all of a sudden, the latest round of pit stops, as we somewhat expected, Liam Banks, and you called it, has breathed new life into this thing, thank Christ.
It certainly has. That gap at the front, really, really interesting. It's such an arm wrestle between Denchy and Cox. It's one of those arm wrestles where Denchy's he's had the other guy's arm near the table the whole time, but Cox just refusing to let the back of his hand touch the table, and just seems to keep wrestling it back just when Dench seems to have delivered a knockout blow. It's going to be interesting. I really hope he can keep it up and make that final stint a live battle for the lead. And then we've got this great battle, Hewitt, Glycett and Knight. Have they been separated by more than 2 seconds the whole race? Because I don't think they have. The 3 of them haven't left each other's sight. And I at some point this is going to explode. It's just got to. You cannot sit that close to the car ahead and have a race where absolutely nothing happens. And then Denchy's just lowered the bar again at 203.5. And neither Cox or Mitchum able to match him. So Dench lowering his best, Cox and Mitchum going a little bit slower that lap.
And let's remember as well, they took a while to get to the 3s. So all those circumstances, all those tenths, hundredths of a second they were over the 204s, it'll balance out nicely if we round it up as a 204 average lap time here. Dench is the leader. Cox, Mitchum, Hewitt, Glissett, Knight, Martin. Oh boy, there's pressure here. Yeah, roughly 82 minutes and 40 seconds would get you to that 40 lap marker. Then take in the pit lane transit times and one more to get you to 41. And I'm not terribly aware, Adam Lavis can probably shed more light on that, how much time we're losing on pit lane or how much time we're gaining on pit lane. How long those transits are and how long the stops are, because that could play a part as well.
Yeah, it certainly could, and that's an area where Dench has been able to steal a bit of time from the competition. So I do wonder if any of the other drivers will look at that in the off season and put that into practice next season, because you can't afford to give Dench any inch that can easily be gained if you just do the same thing as him in pit lane.
So it looks to be about the, what's that? So you're doing 3s, no, 37, no, 10. So it's about, excuse me, it's about 30 to 35 second total transit loss. By the look at that. Close to 40 when you, because you go in lap as well. So it's probably about 40 seconds total over the 2 laps in and out you lose in the pit stop phase. Pit lane here.
Really interestingly on that lap, Denchi and Cox both lending a bit of their pace slip, both back down into the 204s. Mitchum, however, staying in the 203s. So just keep an eye on that next time round, whether that's going to be a pattern where they both have had a little bit of an off lap, a little bit of a cool down lap at the same time. It's just very, very interesting that they've both slipped by about half a second on the same lap. And that's Dave Riddell off the track, not for the first time today.
No,
Sadly, having a tough night.
And I'm pretty sure it was Canada. No, it was just a little bit further up the road. It was through the kink last time. He made it to Canada that time round. So the same section of racetrack, the same sector. He's had a bit of trouble there tonight, no doubt about that.
So yeah, as you got Christensen about to try and make the move on him. Christensen carrying more speed at that final corner. He's going to carry the benefit of that all the way down the straight. He's also going to get the slipstream of watching that gap close in real time. It's gone from 3 tenths to 2 tenths on its way down to 1/10 for Christensen. Launch moving to the first corner. He's shaping up behind him, getting right behind him. Is he going to make a late pull out, or is he going to stay behind? Going to stay behind and lose some of the time he's gained in that straight. He'll be looking to get a good run out of the second corner and then make a move down into corner 3.
So Dench still leads this one by 6.1 seconds. So Simon Cox has actually eked out the smallest bit of time on that margin. It was 7 seconds at the end of the pit stop sequence. It's now, as we get to lap 27, it's now 6.01 second, or 6.1, 6.0, 6.1, fluctuating there at the moment. So over the course of the last, 6 laps now, 7 laps, ever so gingerly, ever so gradually, ever so slightly, it's become an inch here, a tenth there. But still, Dench has got complete control of this race. Tenths and hundredths of a second aren't going to help you when the margin's that big and the race this short. It's 85 minutes, remembering that. So if we're right with our assumption that it's a 41-lap race, boys, the guys that are doing 11-lap stints are fine. The guys that are doing 10-lap stints have got something to worry about. They've got to get an 11-lap stint in there somewhere. Anyone beyond that that's coming to pit lane early might serve themselves an injustice by having to do a 4th transit of the lane. That'll give them an invoice to pay.
Yeah, so, the driver most at risk for that is Nick Wood, isn't he? He's the only driver to be pitted on lap 19. A future pit on lap 20.
Adam Chiplin and Greg Brooks aren't in the equation either, mate, but they've also stopped 3 times to this point through damage and other factors. But good to see that everyone's still running, and everyone bar Chiplin and Brooks are on the lead lap after 27.
And that's David Christensen coming into pit lane. 26 minutes to go, which is about 13 laps. So only a couple of laps until they reach that critical point where they can pit and get to the end of the race. We're going to see some drivers do that. I think we might see.
I think this lap's probably risky in case they go overtime, but next lap's probably definitely in the ballpark.
Yeah, I agree.
So lap 28. Dench is about to complete that one now. So, yeah, an 11-lap stint, so we're talking close enough to 23 minutes for everyone that's getting to 11 laps. Is anyone capable of getting it to 12? Well, if Dench can't, but then again, Dench doesn't know the Ford as well as he knows the other cars. Can the Ford get up to the same old tricks as every other car? Maybe not. But then again, you look at everybody else. 11's the most. 11 is the most they're actually bagging here. So 11, 11, 11 gets you to 33, and 8 gets you home. So there'll be some that can. There'll be some toing and froing here and some gamesmanship about to unfold, gentlemen, because that fourth stint doesn't necessarily have to be long. So we could see a short stint here to the end of lap 30 and an 11 lap stint after that. So you've got to, in my mindset here, this is just the mathematic in me at work. 30, 31, 32, 33. They're going to be the busy numbers. They're going to be the busy laps on pit lane. The end of those laps.
Just to clarify, the Nick Wood there, 19, that's just an STK having a good, not registering his first stop.
Copy.
Otherwise, that's a massive stop, massive stint.
Yes, true. Yeah, well, I've got him as 2 on my pit lane board.
There's Aaron Cooper continuing his charge. Still got Holgerson in front of him. The two of these guys have been like this for a good stint and a half. Both making their way up to field together. They both cleared Glenn Arnott. Next for them is Thomas Martin. And then there's a big gap, 6.7 seconds to Jared Knight. So I think Thomas Martin is about as far as these two drivers can realistically hope to get. But they'll back themselves to do that given the amount of overtakes they've already made in this race. 8 up for Alan Holgerson and a astonishing 11 up for Aaron Cooper.
And just on the back of this little queue is Nick Wood trying to get his recovery after the little incident start. Just on a just outside top 10. So he may be able to sneak into the top 10 by the end of the race here and have somewhat of a recovery from that lap 0 mishap.
Yeah, and there's a teammate ahead of him, so he'll be aiming for bragging rights in the Trichy Foot camp ahead, trying to finish ahead of Glenn Arnott, who's down 3 places before he started, qualified P7, but currently in P10. This is Glycer. He's defending for Jared Knight. We've said that before today. He's still got Hewitt ahead of him. He's got Jared Knight behind him. It's just Thomas Martin who was in this battle that we saw had that small incident that was put out of the running for these guys and into the clutches of Hodgson and Cooper. We also saw Glycer with a small mistake. I think he had the opportunity to break free from this pack, but had a small mistake, and that put him behind Hewitt and just ahead of Knight just before the second pit stop, I believe. Out front, the gap from Denchi to Cox has come down by about half a second in the last couple of laps. So keep an eye on that, and Richard Mitchum going with Cox. So not sure if Denchi's had a bit of a rough lap this time out, made a small mistake. Yes, a 2:04.5 for Denchi's last lap. So either he's realised he's got to save some fuel, or he's made a bit of a mistake. And Thomas Martin's just had an off track, so that's cost him a couple of positions. There he is, pointing the wrong way on the grass, spins around, gets back on the tarmac, and he'll get going again without losing any more positions. Daniel Birchnell still going to be about 4 seconds behind.
Disappointing finish to the night for Martin, because he was in the top 5 earlier in the piece.
Yeah, rear end started to go early in that corner. That's the corner that we saw that bold move from Cooper, getting past Glenn Arnott, and Thomas Martin just showing you how tricky that corner is, because he didn't have anyone alongside him and he was unable to get the car on the racetrack at that back end. Just started to go early corner, he wasn't able to catch it and stop it from becoming a full-on spin.
And it's a shame too, because Martin had the pace, didn't he? He's had the pace all night long, and he's just not going to be able to finish it off here. 11,
yeah.
And 11 seconds almost off the train of Holgerson, Cooper, Arnott and Wood.
Yeah, he definitely deserved better than to fall outside the top 10, but first rule racing is you got to get to the end if you want to finish anywhere, and he's going to be able to do that. There wasn't much damage, but if you make mistakes like that, it's a game of mistakes. You can only lose time. You can't game time in a racing car.
And we're at that point too, mate, where these guys have now gone beyond that threshold of what they normally run on a Monday night, be it in sprint format or mini enduro format. They're now going an extra mile. So the attrition will creep in because fatigue will kick in. So keep an eye on that over the next short while.
Absolutely. Some of these guys, they will have forgot to put the air conditioning on, and they'll be getting mighty hot in sims right about now. I was certainly getting mighty hot in my sim in the GT4 race. I forgot to put on the aircon, and I paid the price for that because I was sweaty at the end of that.
Just on that though, Mr. Banks, well done, top 5 finish. That was impressive. Yeah, and you did it without raising too many eyelids and eyebrows within the commentary box, mate, because you were somewhat of a quiet achiever. You went about your business in a timely and clean manner, and you didn't get too much screen time as a result of that. So I don't know whether that's a good or a bad thing, but you netted another solid result to finish the season.
Yeah, I was really happy with that. It helps a lot when you've got, I think, 4 or 5 guys ahead of me spat out in the first 3 laps. So that made my job a lot easier. I had to defend from Jake Jackson. That was a good race log battle. We were very similar on pace, but I don't know what happened to him in the first pit stop, but he came out. He was right behind me, and he came out about 3 seconds behind. So I don't know if he missed his mark a little bit, but after that, he just wasn't able to make that gap back up. So that was really good. Just another really clean race. I said last time out I needed just a clean race and to just sort of qualify on pace and then drive a clean race, and I did it again tonight. So yeah, I was really happy with that. Wasn't expecting a top 5. Top 10s was the aim, so top 5 was a step ahead of that, but I definitely need a lesson from Sam Chapman if I'm going to breach the gap, because there was a hearty gap to the guys ahead. A suspiciously sized gap where there's 4 drivers that span ahead of me. Probably would have finished had it not been for their misfortune. So yeah, work to do in the off season if we're going to do anything more than a top 10 and a very occasional top 5 next season.
Looking forward to seeing what next season brings on the platforms of the Gentlemen's Sim Racing Club. In come Jared Knight and Glenn Arnott at the 31 lap mark. So we're on the run home. Dench is on his way to this third and final pit stop, either this lap or next. 18 minutes and 16 seconds left on the clock. And I've got 9 laps to go next time by the line. That's my gut instinct. But I'm looking at the clock thinking that's against us at the moment, because we've got to go through the pit lane again. However, in saying that, as long as they get back to that line, I don't care whether it's 5, 4, 3 seconds on the clock. They'll get the white flag and we'll go into overtime. And I think that's what we're going to need to do.
Yeah,
to get to 41. Just quietly.
Absolutely, I think you're right there. And that arrow that's being dangled by Dench, because it's getting close to it and it's not being pulled away yet. It's the gap now below 5 seconds. If Denchy does need to pit an extra 3 seconds to make up that fuel deficit, that puts Cox within 2 seconds of Denchy. Oh, who's that? That's Glycer, isn't it?
Oh, Oscar Glissett. My goodness gracious.
Oh, Chiplin.
Mate.
It's Chiplin.
Oh, no, it's Chiplin. It's his teammate. Is it? Are they teammates? Did I get that right?
Yes, they are teammates. You got that right.
The liveries. I finally started to connect the dots with liveries. Too late in the bloody season, but we've finally done it. Dench, Cox and Mitchum all in at the end of lap 32 with 9 laps to go.
Yeah, let's have a look at those pit times here. Won't be any...
well, we suspect it'll be 9 laps to go. I'm starting to get a little bit worried about that, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I don't think we'll see any games here. I think they're all going to have to take a full tank or near enough to guarantee they get to the end, guarantee they get those 10 laps. Might short fuel just a couple of litres, but it certainly won't be much. So it'll be interesting to see whether Cox does take a bit of time out of that deficit. Denchy stopped for 14 seconds. Cox stopped for longer, 15.98. So we saw that gap closing between Cox and Dench at the end of the stint. I think what we were seeing there was Dench doing a bit of fuel saving just to make sure he didn't have to stop for any longer than Cox and Mitchell behind him. And in fact, he stopped for less time, 14.2 compared to 15.9 and 15.7. Over that, he's got his maths wrong.
Well, I was going to say, don't worry about maths. I'm worried about it at the moment. Because the way I was calculating it, as I said, I was doing that without any knowledge of transit time, pit lane transit time. And when I mean transit time, I'm not just talking about the time that they're stopped in the box for, but that long pit lane at Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin. That might just save a couple of people here, because the further we go, I think we're going to miss out on 41 by a couple of seconds, and I mean literally a couple of seconds. Bang, Adam Chiplin, big hit. That's the replay.
I think you're right there. I think we're going to get 8 laps more out of this, including this one. 8 laps including this one, I think, is what we've got left, given they left the pits with just about 16 minutes remaining, and the laps are just about 17 minutes.
So I think we're just going to, unless they start punching out threes on a regular basis, I don't think we're going to get back into the positive number there. So I think next time by the line, here comes Wayne Hewitt across the line, 15 to go. But remember, Dench is our marker here. Dench is the guy we've got to keep an eye on. And he comes across the line. It's going to be 7 laps to go. Yeah, so we're going to lose a lap, but we're going to lose it by the smallest of margins. As Dench comes around Canada corner.
And Hewitt,
so let's be perfectly honest. On any given night, if Dench is in another car, he probably takes us to 41. That's the minute margins we're talking about here. Just ridiculous. And of course, if we have our original scheduled 90-minute distance, he doesn't just take us to 41. He takes us to 42 and 43 as well.
Certainly does. That gap between Dench and Cox, 7.5 seconds.
Strikes again.
It certainly does. It does like to schedule maintenance at a rather inconvenient time for the GSRC, doesn't it? Maybe we'll have to have a word with our racing on that. No, we might need to get a bit bigger before we're able to do anything like that. Although, membership numbers are, of course, strong, given, I assume, given the amount of attendance we've had at pretty much every series this time out. Which is really good to see. But not as strong as Matty Dench's pace, because Matty Dench is absolutely crushing the field here tonight. 7.3 seconds ahead of Simon Cox in a car he's relatively unfamiliar with. Richard Mitchum's got 1.5 seconds to Simon Cox ahead of him. So this is a live battle, but Cox was able to pull out just about half a second on Mitchum throughout that pit stop phase, and that's going to make it really hard for Mitchum to get past, given the relatively few number of laps remaining. Wayne Hewitt is in a fairly comfortable fourth. He's got Galisa almost 2 seconds behind him. Jared Knight's almost 2.5 seconds behind Galisa, so that gap has increased through the pit stop phase. And then Cooper is ahead of Holgerson. Finally, Cooper is up 13 places, up into 7th, and Holgerson down into 8th, and he's 1.3 seconds behind.
And everybody now that it looks like we're going to fall just marginally short of 41, everyone's going to be right. Everyone's going to be okay to get home. So 40 laps around here. So when you think about that, just think about how much time we've lost on pit lane transit, boys. Because I mean, irrespective of, I mean, when you look at the calculations, 40, and then you times that by 2, there's 80, and then you take the 4 seconds and times that by 40, that's 160. So there's another 2 minutes and 40 seconds. So that gets you to 82 minutes and 40 seconds. So over the length of a lap, more than the length of a lap has been spent on pit lane, in terms of time I'm talking, during this race when you do those numbers. So if we get to 40, which we suspect we will, yeah, over 2 minutes has been spent on the lane tonight. That goes to show you, A, how long the pit lane is here in Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin, but also how long pit stops have been. And that's the best way I can justify my mathematics at the moment. Just by saying, listen, if I knew the transit time as well as the stop time, that'd make things a heck of a lot easier, but I don't. So 11.5 minutes to go. Dench is on his way home. He's got this, and we suspect 5 more laps to go. Simon Cox is running second. Richard Mitchum, Wayne Hewitt, Oscar Glissett, Jared Knight, Aaron Cooper and Alan Holgerson, the top 8. The only battle on the track is the one you're looking at between Aaron Cooper and Alan Holgerson. We've got Ford, Mercedes, BMW in the top 3. We've got Porsche 5th. Ferrari sitting 12th through Daniel Birchnell. Case of what might have been for Ferrari. They did have a candidate. It was Birchnell in the top 10 at the start of the night. I reckon there's going to be a lot more this time next season running in the top 10 based on everything we're hearing with the drop of a new car. And some good news there as well, gentlemen. I'll get both your thoughts on this. We do now have the potential, thanks to iRacing upgrades, to run up to 12 manufacturers or 12 different cars in a service. So if they start pulling the finger out and building some more GT3 cars, we could have a real eclectic, diverse mix on our hands somewhere down the line.
Yeah, we certainly could. It also helps anyone who's wanting to run, say, a multi class endurance championship. just like the GSRC does. We'll be able to have more cars in there as well. So I think that's where the main benefit will be felt. But it is good to know that we're unlikely to really have to limit the GT3s allowed going forward, and we can let everybody race what they want. I'm sure you're absolutely right. We're going to see a few of the new Ferraris out next season. I imagine they'll replace some of the Porsches. A lot of drivers in the series running the new Porsche because it came out last time around. The Ferrari, I mean, look, it's got the Italian heritage, right? Ferrari's always going to be the most popular brand, so I suspect we'll see a good, approaching half the field be Ferraris next time out. But we will still see the Mercs, the BMWs, and a few of the Porsches hang around. So it'll be interesting, and like you said, hopefully they can bring even more GT3s to the service. If you could get one more brand added to the service with the GT3s, what would it be, Zach?
Nissan. There's the first cab off the rack. Get the GTR, get the Godzilla in there. I really like the sound of that. I think you could go with the Bentley.
That'd be nice.
And the Mustang.
Well, swap the Mustang for the Ford GT. Yeah, absolutely. And then swap them around, swap them out. And what else would we go with? Oh, geez. I'm just trying to think. Leave it with me. Leave it with me. I'll have a think about that. Wouldn't want to diminish what we've already got out there, though.
Would we want to see the Ford GT lost to the annals of time in replacement with being replaced by the Mustang? I think I'd like to see the GT stick around. At least until Magny Dench has got a title with it, then it can go.
Yeah. Oh, excuse me. Frog in the throat at the back end of the broadcast here. Matt Dench, Simon Cox, and Richard Mitchum. So yeah, Aston, Bentley, Nissan, and I know there's another one out there. We just haven't scratched the surface with it yet. Dave Riddell has pulled up, and I think that's going to be terminal. I think he's going to park up and retire from the race. And that will be our second retirement because we didn't see David Christensen park up for the night. He's done. Riddell, yeah, might be out of fuel, actually. He's on the tow rope. This was Gregory Brooks. This is Dave Riddell. That sounds like a very unhappy race car. Porsche. Grinding to a halt. We're on lap 37, I should say. You're watching Waste Options Monday Night Motorsport on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club across Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube. It's been a tame grand finale by our usual standards, and I say that with no disrespect to anyone out there. They've put on a great show and a clean show, which is what we're all about. But obviously, I think a little bit of hype and interest was lost. A little bit of substance was lost when this became a dead rubber. Dench winning it inside 9 rounds, just incredibly clinical.
Yeah, clinical is the right word for Magny Dench in a GT3. It's one of those types of domination where it's hard to see where anyone's going to come from to challenge him, isn't it? Like, it's 7 already. 10 seems almost inevitable at this point, unless a new name comes out of the woodwork to really take the fight to him. We might have to do some promos around it. Can you stop Denchy and see if we can get some newbies into the GSRC to really take the fight to him? Either that, or we might have to pull together and pay for maybe Cox. I know Mitchum struggles to get to all the rounds. Maybe get him some tutoring, just to see if we can find him those last few attempts to help him really take the battle to Denchi across the season. We do get the occasional race where he has to work for it, either due to an incident or because someone's able to finally keep pace with him. But across the season, it's just the gap is so much bigger than it is in any individual race, isn't it?
Yep. Still 6.5 seconds. Denchi's got to his advantage at the moment, which is incredible. No one has had any success with this car in a pro server in Gentleman Sim Racing Club GT3 history in recent times. But Dench comes out and does Dench things. And sure, I can't wait to actually pick his brain on it and just get an indication, get some insight into, irrespective of the fact that it is a horsepower-friendly circuit, just how challenging it was to swap the McLaren out for this and have a crack at it. And just see what his insights into it from a technical standpoint are.
Yeah, absolutely. And just while you're saying that, I want to call out Cooper and Hulkson just had a bit of a battle. Hulkson was briefly back ahead of Cooper, but Cooper's managed to hold on to that position. Jared Knight has absolutely obliterated the gap between him and Glycer, so that's now down below half a second. And Reese Dickinson is putting a lot of pressure on Wright, which is what you've had on your screen, entertaining you, while Zach brings you up to date on I mean, just how impressive it is that Dench has been able to jump into the Ford and immediately put it on pole and take what looks to be a dominant win, as long as he doesn't throw it in the wall in the next 5 minutes. And this is that battle between Cooper and Holgson that I was just telling you about. Cooper in the blue and yellow car, and then Holgerson in the light blue and black Porsche. Mercedes. Liam, I'm tired. I woke up at 5 this morning, so I'm very, very tired.
You and me both, mate. I was up early, not just for IndyCar, but radio and other commitments, and had the intention, had the plan, had the desire of getting back to sleep, and it just didn't bloody happen. Matt Dench leads this one. We've got, we believe, 2 laps to go at the line, and that is going to be confirmed as Dench comes up onto the main straight. 2 laps to go. And have a look at the time. I want it noted. I want it bloody well noted to everybody around Australia who's going to get up me and say, oh, the Zaculator's missed the mark tonight. He crossed the line. Dench crossed the line at 1 hour 21 minutes, 1 hour 20 minutes and 52 seconds. 2:04 and 2:04 gets you to 1:25 on the nose, right? That's how close we were to 41 laps.
Well, you might still get there. You did a 3.9.
We might, but I think iRacing might also flag it at 1 hour 24 minutes and 59 seconds. That's the sort of night we're having.
It's going to be tricky because we're already, with the gaps between practice and qualifying, we're already 6 minutes over time. So
that's right.
It's going to be a rush for me to get the results before iRacing kick me off the server.
Correct. Stay with us, folks. This could get very interesting in a matter of minutes. 3 minutes to go. Next time, let's keep our eyes on Barney and whether that prick's doing his job or not tonight. That's number 1. And 2, if he's got the white flag in hand, next time by the line for Matt Dench, I suspect he will. Dench, Cox, Mitchum, Hewitt, Glissett, Knight, Cooper. Knight is all over Glissett like a cheap suit.
Do we miss a incident for Holgerson? Because he's suddenly down to
correct
10th.
We must have done. He's down there, and Thomas Martin's all of a sudden a chance of getting back in the 10. Well picked up, Liam. This is how it happened. Holgerson at turn 1. Uh-oh. Too much curb and tyres. Oh, no. Holgerson had been doing so well until then.
He really has. He's had a fantastic race, and I'm glad he's just about in the top 10. He's got Thomas Martin behind him. We said earlier on that it felt unfair for Martin to end up outside the top 10. So I think Holgerson and Martin, they both had good races, both had incidents, and now they are fighting for the right to finish the season in the top 10 in this race. And Martin looks like he just got the move done on Holgerson.
White flag is out.
White flag is out, so we are on the run home, and it is going to end bang on an hour and 25 minutes. So that's how close we were. Simon Cox, fastest lap for the race by 0.02 of a second. 2:03.567 for Matt Dench. That's a nice one for the mathematics. 2:03.565 for Simon Cox. 2:03.565. 0.02 of a second faster than Matt Dench in the fastest lap department. Wowee. I tell you what, the Ford, the boys would be happy that the Ford doesn't get the fastest lap of the race tonight. But nothing also would surprise me.
Still a lap to go.
That's right. Nothing would surprise me at all. He's done it a few times already this season. He's done it enough times throughout the course of this season. Sorry, there's some notifications going off in the background, and the old notification ping is getting the better of me. He's done it enough times this season. Oh, here we go. Glissett's dropped out of the top 5. Jared Knight's got through at turn 6. Jared Knight gets through into the top 5. Dench has done it enough times this season that he's set the fastest lap on the run home to the checkered flag. It would not surprise me if he pulls out a 2:03.5 or a 5.4 or something just to upset the apple cart here. But you got to take your hat off to this bloke, ladies and gentlemen. you've got to take your hat off to this bloke. An absolute weapon of this game. We threw it on him. We threw him in the deep end last week. We said, you've got the championship wrapped up. You've got no excuse not to take the Ford GT for a spin and see what you can do with it. And what's he done? He's only got and won the thing. Matt Dench, victorious, dominant, too good. Right, America.
He did it.
2:03.467. Fastest lap on the last lap of the race for Matt Dench in the Ford GT. Pole position as well. It just makes a mega statement that it's not impossible to drive that thing. But then again, Dench is superhuman, Liam Banks. That is just an incredible performance. Well done, Matt Dench. Simon Cox, Richard Mitchum, Wayne Hewitt, Jared Knight and Oscar Gliss at the top 6. Aaron Cooper, Nick Wood, Glenn Arnott and Thomas Martin at the top. Well, Glorioski. Top 4 finish exactly where they started. Jared Knight up 5. Aaron Cooper up 13, the best mover of the night. And this battle here rages as Reece Dickerson tries to get by John Wright, but tries to fend off Jonathan Hooper and Rob Hill as well. Oh, boy. Sum that up for me, Banksy. I'm somewhat... Veronica's right. Well done, Henry. Well done, Matt. I'm somewhat not surprised with what we've just seen. And I don't think anyone around Australia should be. But that just proves yet again why this guy's at the top of his game, why he's a 7-time champion.
Well, it was just the stamp on the envelope that is his championship, isn't it? Yeah. We gave him an extra challenge, asked him to make it harder for himself in the final round. He obliged, which was good on him to take that up and go for it and bring the Ford out in the final race. And he's just gone to show exactly why he's been the dominant leader of the championship, why he had it wrapped up last time out, why he's run 7 championships in a row. The reason is because the guy is just plain darn quick. And on ultimate pace, he doesn't have much of an advantage, right? We've seen him occasionally not get pole position. But when it comes to lap after lap after lap, that race pace, nobody's been able to get particularly close to him this year. Regardless of the car he's in, there's hope for the likes of, particularly like Cox and Mitchum, to bridge that gap if they really put their heads down. But they've only got a couple of weeks to do it, because before we know it, next season will be starting. And if Dench gets the first couple of wins, it will be game over, because he's not going to have any drop rounds of consequence.
Class with the capital C. Can't wait to get the results from the AM split either. And I'm hoping that Adam Lavis can get a hold of them before our racing boot him out. It's 9:59, just quietly. Simon Cox, 6.6 seconds was the difference in the end. He held off Richard Mitchum rather comfortably. In fact, most of that field was fairly spread out in the end. The only difference being, the only exception being Hewitt and Knight. Knight and Glissett, I should say. You look at all of that. Race Control had a relatively quiet night. Didn't have much to touch. Didn't have much to contend with. We had Adam Chiplin, Gregory Brooks finish a lap down. 19 finishes got home. Dave Riddell is still in the service, so he will get classified by virtue of the fact that he made it to 34 laps, which was past that 75% threshold of 30. So 20 cars classified at the finish line. Not a bad night out.
Annoyingly, the AM Split guys are still going. They haven't finished yet.
Oh, no. So we're not going to actually know the M-Split champion tonight, are we?
Well, the iRacing it's not usually on the dot. Usually it's a couple minutes till the way, so we'll see how we go.
All right, and we'll see how we go. All right. I hope we don't have to rerun that race at some point. 2:03.467. Dench finishes with the fastest lap of the race. My goodness gracious me. Incredible. 6.6 seconds, the winning margin, and they're all putting on an expression session out there at the moment.
Yeah, we might have to get one of the average guys to save the replay if they can, just to be sure.
Before we go any further, I should also point out, we can't do what we do here, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, it's gone to maintenance.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Now, did they actually get to finish the race or not?
I don't know.
Oh, no. Oh, no. All right, we wait with bated breath. We wait with bated breath, ladies and gentlemen. To hear from our friends in the AM split in just a few moments' time, and I'm sure the comments will start firing in the Discord server, ready to tick at the clock. Liam Banks, top 4 finish where they started. That that's a reflection of how good the form guide was tonight, qualifying key. But beyond that, Jared Knight was impressive. So too Aaron Cooper. Everyone else, there were a couple of what might have been stories definitely in that.
Yes, certainly the ones that stick out to me were Thomas Martin, who was having a strong race in that battle with Hewitt, Knight and Gleiser until he had an incident that knocked him out of the top 10, able to recover just before the end of the race because of another incident for Alan Hogerson, who was right battling with Cooper, would have been up about 8 spots had he managed to stay there, even if he finished behind Cooper. But just got on the curve at turn 2 with only a lap or 2 to go, and that spun him. It knocked him into the wall, and then I think he's carrying a bit of damage, which meant he was unable to hold off Thomas Martin, who got past him with only a couple of laps to go. So another what if for Holgerson. Other what ifs, you got to wonder what Nick Wood might have been able to do without that rather unfortunate start where he put it into the grass before they hit the first corner, before the green flag had even started. And other drivers having a tough race like Dave Riddell on screen, who had that nasty incident on lap 1, and from there it was always going to be hard for him to do anything other than finish at the back of the pack. Did, however, get classified, so that was an okay result given the way it started.
All right, now we've got Adam Holland in here, and I'm going to, with no disrespect to the pro blokes, I want to go to Adam first. Can you confirm or deny for us that you guys actually got your race in before iRacing maintenance commenced?
Yeah, mate, we were all in there. I don't know if it did. Did the pro split not get done?
No, the pro split finished, but we were worried about you guys because apparently Adam Lavis was trying to suss things out, and he said it was still going, and then iRacing went to maintenance, and we didn't find out whether the checkered flag waved or not. But the checkered flag waved, so I'm happy to hear that. That's really good news. We'll come back to you in just a moment, and we'll get you to run through some results for us there, please, because I'm not sure Adam Lavis has got access to them right this very minute. In saying that, though, Simon Cox, we'll get to you in a moment. Oscar Glissett, we'll get to you as well in just a moment. But Matt Dench, unbelievable effort, mate. I think we all need to give you a round of applause because you accepted the challenge and you went out there and proved that it wasn't a fluke. You got the job done in incredible fashion. The Ford, horsepower friendly circuit, and the Ford is a horsepower car. That being said, it is, from all reports, it's a challenging thing to drive. Just how tough was that 90 minutes for you, despite the fact that you ticked all the boxes, pole position, race win, fastest lap on the final lap? It was like you were driving the McLaren, but you weren't.
Yeah, I was pretty surprised at how hard the Ford is to drive. It wants to understeer and it wants to oversteer, and as soon as either of those happen, you just overheat the tyres and then your lap time falls right off. So, yeah, quite the challenge.
Very nicely done. From a technical standpoint, talk us through the challenge of driving that car, because obviously we know that there's a fair reason why it hasn't been touched with the barge pole by most of the club this season. There have been 1 or 2 exceptions. From your standpoint, though, I mean, had it been another circuit, would you have even entertained the idea of jumping behind the wheel of it?
If it had been like quite a technical circuit, the Ford would have, it would have probably went top 10, I think. But yeah, we kind of got lucky with it being a lot of big straights. So.
Indeed, you did, and you controlled that beautifully. Was there any fuel saving involved? Were there any of the usual old tricks, or was it full tilt from the outset?
We did a tiny bit of fuel saving while Simon was behind us, but once we got that gap, we started to push on, and we just kind of had a bit of a slide and overheated the tyres after that second stop, and then Simon started closing that gap again, and he managed to sneak the fastest lap, a couple from the end, and I managed to cool the tyres down just enough to have another go at it.
All right, coming back to you in just a moment, because we get to put the full stop on the championship, and I mean, you've already wrapped that up. That's now just ended with an exclamation mark. The icing on the cake, the cherry on top, and all the other adequate superlatives to describe that. Liam, save yourself a couple of questions for Dench in just a moment. Let's get to Simon Cox and to Oscar Glissett. Oscar, I'll come to you first. Started 5th, finished 6th, but it went down to the final lap. Boy, gee, what a great fight. Firstly with Thomas Martin, we're seeing that on screen there at the moment, and then later with Jared Knight, who fought from 10th to pip you on the final lap. But you were still the first Porsche home, mate. Well done.
Yeah, thanks, mate. It was a difficult race. I was actually struggling all race. got barely any practice, had to reinstall iRacing right before quali. Yeah, it was a pretty difficult race.
Talk us through it, because at the end of the day, it's clear that the circuit favoured. Okay, let's rule the Ford out because it was at the mercy of one M Dench. It was always going to be quick. But in the grand scheme of things, the Mercs, the Bimmers, they've got that top heavy horsepower, haven't they? They've got that grunt, they've got that muscle. So the circuit, the form guide probably favoured them. But for you and Aaron Cooper, who came from 20th on the grid to be the first two Porsches home, not a bad effort given everything that we've just analysed there above you.
Yeah, 100%. Like, the Porsche is not good in a straight line, and that fast right-hander, I don't remember what corner it is, every lap wanted to kill me, so I was always lifting and shifting early, so I was always losing a lot of straight line speed there and being attacked there a lot. But good for us to come home, was it 6th, 7th?
Well, I was saying you were sitting in third place in the championship here coming into this round, so that's part of the reason why you're here. We're just going to make sure that all the numbers and boxes have been ticked and checked there, and we'll get to that in just a moment. But yeah, 6th for you, 7th for Aaron Cooper, not a bad result, all things considered. And then the rest of the Porsches, 13th and beyond. Again, a couple of them. Dave Riddell actually could probably sympathise with what you were saying there, because he did get killed. Firstly at Canada Corner, and firstly at the Kink through turn 12 where you're talking about, and then down at Canada Corner as well, and that was him parked up for the night. In saying that though, mate, throughout the course of a 10-week season, it doesn't just hinge on one particular performance. So to net I believe it's a championship podium for you, to net that's testament, that's tipping the hat to you with regards to how you've composed yourself and put the full season together. You must be happy with that, and obviously when you look at the company that you keep around you, Dench was always going to be hard to beat, but to be in the fight and on the podium, that must give you a little bit of satisfaction, I would imagine.
Yeah, 100%. Well, coming into it, I never thought I'd beat Dench, obviously, way too quick for us. Coming into this round, it was second, and it was Simon about 8 points behind me, so I had to try to beat him this week and couldn't get it done, so I think Simon got me.
All right, copy that. I was going to say, we'll get to Simon in just a moment as well. We've got Mark Foster standing by, Adam Holland as well. Stay with us, folks. Plenty to analyse tonight. Adam Lavis is busy crunching the numbers at the moment. So, irrespective, so if Simon's got you, it will be a case of, I believe you'll still be first Porsche home, is that right? In the championship?
I believe so, yes.
Okay, so I ask you this question. The Porsche has been one of the go-to cars for the last couple of seasons, but there's strong, murmurs in the water around here that it's going to become a Ferrari Cup in GT3 next season. Are you tempted by the new car, or are you looking at something else, be it the Porsche, be it something else?
Oh, I'm very tempted by the Ferrari because, well, the Porsche, love it. Impossible to overtake in a straight line though, like Le Mans and was it last week? Even in Slipstream, I was not able to keep up with BMWs and Mercedes and all that, so I'll probably go Beamer or Ferrari next season, I think.
I was going to say, the Bimmers have been impressive this season as well. They're starting to get back towards the top step of the summit. Stay there, Oscar. Come back to you in a moment. Liam Banks is standing by to throw a few questions at you and Matt Dench in just a tick. But firstly, let's bring Simon Cox in. We thought we were doing you a favour, mate. We thought the Ford would hamstring Denchy. It didn't.
No, unfortunately it didn't. It probably closed the gap a little bit, but there's still a good nut behind the wheel. So he did a great job all race. He had good pace and tried to stick with him, but I just couldn't make that extra lap in that first pit stop, which sort of blew out the slipstream of tagging them onto the second stint there. A great race with Denchy and Mitchum was at me the whole race as well.
With regards to your general performance, mate, it was only in that closing stint, that last sort of 15-20 minutes there, where you were able to actually shake off the challenge of Richard Mitchum and keep him at bay. You kept Denchy honest in the first couple of stints there, but then again, he got up to his usual tricks and 2 seconds became 7 seconds, became, it was just a clinical performance from him as per usual. When did it become clear to you that it was going to be a race for second tonight? And when did it become clear to you and comfortably that you were going to be second past the post, provided you didn't put a foot wrong?
Probably when I didn't make that first, that extra lap in the first pit stop. I knew the fight was over and the fight was going to be with Mitchum. So in the second stint, I just wanted to conserve a lot of tyre left for the last stint. And when we came out after the pits, it was go time. So I just tried to break the slipstream, and then kind of worked for me. And got a little bit of a gap on Mitchum, and that's all she wrote.
The Merc around here, a good performing car, and a solid hit out from you as well.
Yeah, like it's a stable car. The Merc's been off all season. It's just, it's you've really got to work it hard to get a good setup going on it. There's probably faster cars out there, but the Merc it's a nice car to drive, and you get the setup right. You've just got to drive it in a bit of a relaxed manner and just not slide the tyres and keep it all under check. Couple of silly mistakes I've made this season. Like last week, I forgot to put my pit limiter on, which gave me a nice long pit stop.
Yes.
So that sort of put a bit of a spanner in the works for the championship. But I think I might have got Oscar. I'm not quite sure, but hopefully I pulled a second out of the season.
We'll find out for you in just a few moments. Here we go. Adam Holland, apparently your late night supper's ready, mate. Your dim sims are ready to rock and roll, so we won't hold you up too long. We'll get to you in just a moment. Adam Lavis.
There's been plenty of side hustle banter in the chat since
I could imagine.
Oscar's forgot to spend the sponsor, and now apparently he can't afford a Ferrari.
I love it. Going to get your thoughts, actually, Denchi, Oscar, and Simon, on the back end of the season, or not the back end of the season, but the back end of the year, the calendar year, in just a few moments' time, and what we're thinking with regards to next term. But before I get to that, and before we get to Adam Holland and Mark Foster, Liam Banks, I'm going to let you have open slather with the top three here. Anything you want to ask them?
Denchi, you managed to pull out about 3 seconds in that first pit stop, but it all seemed to be done in transit time. Can you just talk us through how you were able to pull out such a big gap? Because you doubled the gap to the car behind, and it wasn't stationary time, it was transit time.
It's just driving through pit lane with no pit limiter on. The speed limit was like 72, and I was doing 73 the whole way. So.
And that's worth 3 seconds?
It's probably worth at least 1.5 to 2 in the pit lane that long, for sure.
Absolutely mental where you get those this little edges from.
Just insane.
Just insane. And
Although
then,
that being said, he's tripped up on pit lane a couple of times in recent memory, so he was lucky that he didn't do that tonight.
Yeah,
Check is to qualify on pole.
Yeah, as I said, when I showed in that first stop, I got the speeds up. I can see there was 73 for Denchi and 71 for everybody else. But I did point out it is a risk versus reward thing, because he is flirting with the danger that if he doesn't quite get the foot in the right spot, the black flag will be dropped, and he'll be like, no.
Yep, and that would have changed the game totally, because he would have been racing for a minor placing instead of a podium.
And then my next question is for Simon Cox and Richard Mitchum. What can you guys do in the relatively short off season to level up to be able to challenge Matty Dench next season?
I don't think Mitchum's in here, so...
No, we don't have Richard, so we'll have to go with
Glycer. Well, Glycer can answer the question as well.
That's it.
Look, I have bought the new Ferrari. It seems to be really, really good. I've done some sort of pretty comfortable lap times on it. It seems to be quite consistent as well, so we could see a car change for next season.
All right, on the subject of car changes, let's hold that topic. Let's come back to that in just a moment, because we've already asked Oscar Blissett about that. I'm tempted to get Simon Cox's and Matt Dench's thoughts in just a moment, but not before we welcome in the open split boys. The GT3 AM split, I should say. I'm getting my Porsches and my GTs mixed up. Look at me go. It's been a late finish to a long day. Adam Holland, welcome into you. Mark Foster, welcome into you. I'm going to need one of you to give us some results from that AM split, please, because unfortunately iRacing booted Mr. Lavers out before he could even save the replay and grab the data and the results he needed.
I had the results page up, but it was blank, and I was trying to refresh it for it to actually come through, but it wouldn't actually come up.
So one of you take front running here, please. Adam, you go.
Yep, I managed to get the win, which was pretty good. Mark was a bit unlucky early on and had a spin.
We won't mention that, mate. We'll just leave that one.
And I think Tim, my teammate, came in second, and I think Dean Eldridge might have been third across the line with Stephen Gallagher close in tow from memory.
Okay.
Do we know which position Mark finished in?
I was back in about 13th, so I'm well out, unfortunately.
No.
That's why I was just popping in to just say congratulations.
So how has this all happened, please, Mark Foster? Talk us through your night before you go any further.
I binned it through the what's it called, the follow through, or the fast right hand,
The
or
kink?
the kink. Binned it through the kink.
Where all the Porsches were getting chucked out.
Pretty much, yeah. Honestly, I was pretty nervous before the race, and I was just didn't have confidence in the car, and binned it through there in about lap 4, and then which was fine. I was still on the lead lap, and then I binned it again, just all by myself a little bit later on, and so I used my 2 fast repairs fairly quickly. I think I pitted about 5 times. I finished on the lead. I finished on the lead lap, so at least I didn't have the disappointment of being lapped. But yeah, it was a massive choke from my behalf. But look, Adam and Dean and Tim raced a great race and a great season, and they definitely deserve the win. And congratulations to them.
On that subject, mate, just talk us through, was it a grip, or was it overcommitment on your part that sent you into the wall over in the back section of the circuit in the early laps there?
No, it was me. It was all me and lack of talent, and I was just stiff on the wheel, and I thought, they're all going faster through the kink, so why can't I? And then I tried and just
and you found out why, yes.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, exactly.
So, Mark, that's what practice is for, mate.
I know, and honestly, it's probably one of the first times. It was pretty loose. The Macca was pretty loose through there a lot of the time. But anyway, it's just live and learn. And when you're thinking all I've got to do is have a clean race, of course that means you're not going to have a clean race. So anyway,
yeah. So with that info, like unofficially, I would say 90% sure that gives Adam Lee Holland the championship. But I definitely can't call which between Mark and Dean gets second, because if I just plug in those positions without any bonuses, there's only 2 points in it. So I have to wait and see with that one. So we'll have to get the results tomorrow and find out.
Yeah, it'll probably go down to fastest lap thing, because I know we both obviously had off tracks, and I don't think anyone would have been good enough or lucky enough to get a 0x around there in 90 minutes. If you did, amazing. But yeah, like Adam's definitely got the championship, I would say, because all he needed to do was to beat Dean and I, which he did quite easily. So congratulations.
And I believe Stephen Gallagher got the fastest lap, just there at the end on the second last lap.
Oh, get on it, Adam. Let's see what's going on, mate.
Actually, on the subject of fastest laps, stay with us, Mark. I'm going to come back to you in a moment. Stay with us, Adam. I'm going to come back to you as well. On the subject of fastest laps, Simon Cox, you had it by 2 thousandths of a second before Denchi pulled one out, as he usually does on the very last lap, at 2:03.4. You had a 2:03.565 compared to his 5:67. At what point, Denchi, did you get wind of this and up the ante, please?
Get wind of what?
Get wind of Coxie having pipped your fastest lap there with a couple of laps to go.
I saw it pop up, but I was already I'd already been trying to cool down the tyres a couple of laps prior to that, just because I always try to go purple on that last lap. So
tricks of the trade.
We were lining up for it.
Tricks of the trade. Look at him go. Incredible. Adam, I believe with what everyone else is saying that you've got the job done, mate. So congratulations on that. Testament to putting a 10-week season together, like what we were saying with Oscar and the podium finish. So put it into words for me. How does it feel to have ticked that box, got the job done, and put and strung the results together over the period of 10 weeks? And now, does that mean that we get to elevate you up to come and play with the big boys in the pro split?
Well, I'm very, very happy to be honest with the win. Being third once in the Pro-Am, and the last 2 seasons I've been fourth, with a couple of points getting me off the podium. So to get the win, stoked with my season. Picked up 3 wins there. Very happy with the way everything went. The team had a great season as well. Unlike my young buck there, Oscar, I will thank my sponsors, Plum on Plumbing and Fuge Contracting, for everything they do for us.
Poor
So, yeah.
Oscar's getting stitched up tonight, isn't he?
Yeah, always
I don't
gets
deserve
stitched
this.
up.
No. We're trying to encourage people to come back to the post-race show, but if they're getting sledged from every angle, they might not. No, Adam, in saying all of that, though, 90 minutes around Road America, she's not an easy task. Or 85 in this case.
Yeah, and especially at the start there, just where Mark had his little whoopsie, it was just so tense. It just didn't spread out over those first few laps. I was side by side with a couple of guys, just not wanting to give up my position. Dean was one of them. I knew I had to stay close, and my heart was just pounding for the whole first stint, just until the field spread. But yeah, once you spread out a little bit at the back end, I was able to breathe and just relax and bring it home.
Mark, I have to then therefore turn the ledger to you and say, how gutted are you to get so near yet so far with the McLaren? It could have been a McLaren double. Instead, you lived through what might have been tonight.
Yeah, look, obviously you're upset. I am upset, but look, I didn't think I was anywhere near it at the start of the season, so I'm really happy with the way that I managed to come back. I had a couple of good results. Like Le Mans, I had a second, which was really pushed me right up there. So, I love the McLaren, and I love that the McLaren's up there, and I love that people talk about it. So, that Denji shows what you can do in it. I show what a pleb can do in it. But it's just a good season. It's just been a great season. Like there's been no issues with anyone racing. It's been clean. It's been good fun. It's been awesome to have the telecast of the AM Champ, every couple of weeks. So I've loved it. It's been a great season.
Liam, anything for Adam and Mark here?
Mark, we love that you've been in the McLaren this season. Are you going to return in the McLaren next season? Probably.
Yeah, someone's got to show it some love.
Yeah, they really do. They really do. Otherwise, I'll just be crying alone into its ice cream, with a cat on its lap, scratching it because it doesn't even the cat doesn't love it.
So I still love it. It's definitely not the fastest. I'm old, so I might as well drive the oldest car.
Denchi, I'm going to come to you. Tyre wear tonight. Ford compared to McLaren, what'd you notice?
The actual wear on the tyres wasn't too bad, but it was. I was just really struggling with the heat in the tyres. It was getting pretty toasty pretty quick. So yeah, we struggled for grip quite a while.
What about everybody else? Simon, what did you notice with regards to your tyre wear tonight, please?
Yeah, like Denchi said, tyre wear wasn't an issue. It's basically just thermal degradation. So you just sort of had to look after that front left. As Denchi said, mine got a little bit toasty about mid-race, but then the track started to cool down and ambient temperature come down, so it was sort of kept it under check there for a bit.
Oscar, I'm assuming that you're in the same boat, and I'm only assuming that because Porsche's wanting to kill you is a normal trade in fast corners for those cars.
Yeah, 100%. There's definitely a chance game you're playing every time you go into those kind of corners.
What about you two blokes, Adam and Mark? Obviously, Mark, you had your own issues there, but when you got back out there, tyre wear, what did you make of it?
Not too bad, actually. It was, heat more than anything. I don't think it was too bad on wear, but yeah, the last few laps I was pushing hard to try and get as far up the order as I could, so I was cooking them pretty quickly.
The champ's done a mic drop and just departed the building. Elvis has left the building. Congratulations to Matt Dench on winning the championship, putting the full stop, the exclamation mark, and everything else on it tonight with the Ford. He'll get half points for that. 523 place. Simon Cox is 405, so still around better than everybody else tonight. Oscar Gossett ends up third in all of that. So yes, you did drop down a spot, mate, but it's still a podium finish. 4 different manufacturers in the top 4. Nick Wood getting the first of the Bimmers home there in 4th place. A swathe of Porsches there, 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th. And Thomas Martin and Glenn Arnott flanking that 6th and 10th. 6th and 11th, I should say. Very nicely done. But yeah, very nicely done from you, Simon Cox. Get the job done over Oscar Glissett. I'm coming back to you two in just a moment. We've lost Adam Holland as well. I was hoping to have a chat to him about next season, but I'll start with you, Mark, and I'll go around the room. Next season, what are you looking forward to most? Are you sticking with the McLaren, or are you looking at that Ferrari like every other bloke?
No, not the Ferrari. I'll stick with the McLaren at this stage. Yeah, just looking forward to the season starting again and hopefully get to race. I only missed one round, so just looking forward to going around again.
I've already asked Oscar about this, so Simon, the floor is yours. What are you looking at for the next term, and how do you spend the week off?
Well, before we get to next term, I'd just like to finish up on this season and just
yes, mate.
Thank yourself and Liam and Adam for the great coverage that you put on. GSRC, great club, and all the drivers in both the splits have been really nice to drive with. And I'd just like to thank Waste Options for the series sponsor. And also I'd like to thank the boys from the BMA team, Daniel Hill and Rob Hill. They've been great support. And our extended team, which is Angry Pepper Racing, which is Wayne Hewitt and Alan Holgerson. So we all decided at the start of the season to run the Merc and sort of bounced ideas around setups and gave each other some really good support. And ended up a pretty good season. As for next season, as I said, I probably might consider the Ferrari. But I'd just be happy to really drive anything and compete with all the bunch of great guys that are in this season.
Very nicely said from you, mate. What are you looking forward to most out of Term 4 as well? I mean, you guys will see the calendar in due course. I've had a partial look at it. It looks like we're going to have another very entertaining dose of Monday Night Motorsport to deal with, and we're looking forward to that. But what are you most looking forward to about the challenge that awaits trying to dethrone Denchi, who we believe after last week will jump behind the wheel of the Ferrari and try and tick that off the list of cars that he's won a championship in as well. But the Ford's not too far away. I think he's got to get to the Audi before that as well. Or there's one other. Actually, no, the Bimmer, my apologies, the Bimmer. So what are you looking forward to most, and what are you looking forward to least?
Well, I've looked at the schedule for next season, and it actually looks really good. So I'm really happy with the tracks that are on there. What I'm looking forward to least is probably having that week off. I really enjoy the Monday night racing, and it's really something to look forward to. So I'll keep myself busy and try and get my head around either the new car or just try and improve my setup skills with the Merc. And hopefully we can just get that, a couple of tenths or half a second, sometimes a couple of seconds a lap quicker, so we can be up on Denchi's pace.
All right, very nicely done. Oscar, to you, what are you looking forward to? If there's a track that you want to see on the calendar, what is it? If there's a track that you don't want to see on the calendar, what is it?
Honestly, I don't really care. It's fun racing in the gents. Always been fun. Always here just to race. I don't really care what happens next season. I'm just here to have fun.
What do you do with the week off, mate?
Relax, I think. Do a lot of nothing.
No, yeah, I think that's good advice for everybody. Here we are at the 3.25 hour mark of the show. We're probably going to get an early mark tonight, guys, because obviously shaving 5 minutes off each race, having everything start earlier, we're probably going to get an early mark. I was thinking this would be an 11 o'clock finish easily, but we're not as talkative tonight as we have been, and that goes for Liam and I as well. We're absolutely shagged after the day we've had. But extra shift at Hungry Jack's on the week off for Oscar. Probably okay, very nice.
Yeah, I think Oscar still needs to thank some people.
Yes, he does too.
Yeah.
Actually, I was going to say, Oscar, the floor is yours in a moment, mate. I just want to go to Mark Foster and cover this off as well. because you've already said you're happy with the McLaren, but if there's a track that you do want to see on the calendar and a track you don't want to see on the calendar next term, what are they? And the same question to Simon Cox on the way out as well.
Probably. I don't know. You put me on the spot. No, look, I like Virginia. Virginia was good this season. I haven't raced any of the street circuits. I'm not that good on because I always look at the walls and crash into them. So let's steer clear of the street circuits for me, and I'll be pretty happy.
All right, very nicely done, Simon.
Sorry, I forgot. I didn't hear the question.
Track you do want to see, track you don't want to see when the calendar comes out.
I'm not quite sure about what track I don't like to see, but what I do like to see is a race around Daytona is always great, especially at night.
Okay. Interesting. Hey, there's the other one as well. Liam Banks and I were having a chat here earlier with Adam as well. iRacing now gives us one of the smorgasbord of updates they dropped for Season 4, the patch that went out last week, the patch that they're currently just tweaking at the moment, which is why we're finishing early. And let's not forget, I should actually include in my calculations, boys, the reason why we're also finishing early is because we lost 10 minutes of racing tonight thanks to iRacing. Thank you very much. They'll just enjoy that invoice a little bit more, no doubt. But we were having a chat here, weren't we, Liam, about the fact that iRacing is now going to allow you to run up to 12 different cars in any server. Between us, he said we'd love to see if they're going to expand the GT3 portfolio. We'd love to see them include, obviously, swap the Ford GT out for the Mustang, but not before Denchi wins the championship in the GT. We want to see that box ticked at some point, just for historical purposes more than anything else. But then we also said Aston Martin, Nissan, Bentley. There's I want that 10 minutes back as well. There's three manufacturers that you could add to the fold in GT3. Who are we missing? What are we missing? What would you like to see added to the GT3 portfolio to give us that 12 manufacturer mix?
The trouble is a lot of the GT manufacturers are actually pulling out of GT, so
that gives us a problem.
Yeah. So to wish for a new car to come into iRacing, probably. Not a
probably is wishful thinking. Yes, yeah, right. Yeah. Oscar, are you going to go along the same line as Simon here?
I'd love to see the Bentley. That'd be different, I reckon.
Yep, that's true. Mark?
For me, obviously, update my McLaren would be perfect.
Liam Banks, I can see you've got your microphone open, mate. So I'm assuming that you want to throw a question to our three drivers that have willingly stayed around for the post-race show.
Oh, I was going to say, if they do update the McLaren, will it be the same? Because all of a sudden it'll be popular again. I feel like the part of the love of the McLaren is that it's not popular, we don't see it enough.
But then you should see more people in the Audi then, shouldn't you?
Oh, this is true. Yeah, we haven't seen it. Maybe the Audi is the new McLaren for next season. Maybe we need to get some people to be loving the Audi.
Yeah, well, it won't be me.
No, of course.
I've tried the Audi. I've tried the Audi. It's no good for me.
Does it make you say Audi? Ouchie? That's not going to work. There's a pun there somewhere, but it's not quite working for me. No, what are your goals for next season, lads, before we send you on your way?
Oh, well, I'll hopefully go 1 or 2 steps better and win the AM Championship if I stay in it. So that's obviously my goal, and not choke in the last round.
Actually, that's a good point, Mark Foster. If you do get promoted to the prize split, obviously that's a step up in the challenge stakes yet again. That would you enjoy that challenge? Would you enjoy the difficult nature that comes with being the small fish in the big pond, so to speak?
Yes and no. Like, the challenge itself would be good as long as you're competitive. If you're not competitive and you're down the back and you're just watching people lap, 2 seconds faster than you a lap, then no, it's probably not much fun. Which is why I've enjoyed the AM Championship, because we're all very similar pace. So it's, there's probably about 10 of us who could win any night. So we've got to enjoy having a go. But yeah, I think the AM is right for me at this stage anyway.
Yep, and to be fair, boys, having had a look at the calendar, it doesn't look like the format of racing is going to change in any way, shape or form. get your thoughts on this. Long race, short race, sprint race. What's your favourite format of the three that we've got? Would you like to see more of one than the other?
Oh, definitely the hour races are really good, and the 1.5 hour ones are really good. I don't really like the sprint races too much.
Commentary enjoys them because it does spice things up just nicely, Simon. But I get why you're saying that.
Yeah, like it's good for the show, bad for the drivers because you can have a really bad night especially if you've had an off or someone's hit you in the first race. It basically just ruins the whole night. It's really hard to recover from that.
What about the second race?
Well, that's the point. If you have a bad race one, you can have a bad race two as well because you end up at the back of the pack instead of just being inverted inside the top 10. What about you, Oscar?
I love the sprint rounds, honestly. Well, I've always been sort of in and out of the gents apart from the last 2 seasons, and I miss it out on sprint rounds for like a year or so. Ever since I've actually done them again, I've loved it.
Mark Foster?
I'm with Simon. I prefer the longer races.
Interesting. It's always nice, Liam, to gauge the thoughts of these guys with what they like, what they don't like, because in past the club have taken the advice on board or the feedback on board and have gone away, and that's why we have sprint racing in GT3 now. It used to be hours or hour and a halves and 2 hours. We didn't used to have sprint racing, and then we reinvented the wheel, and it's all based on in a club where you've got 400 odd members at the moment. You're never going to please everybody, but it's important to have that feedback and have that communication.
Yeah, and I think for the GT3 Championship, which really is what's the word I'm looking for? It's a crown jewel of the GSRC, right? I think it benefits from throwing the drivers a range of different challenges, both in the range of courses, but also in the range of formats that they have to deal with week on, week out. It's a 10-week championship. If you keep it all in one format, it's going to get a little stale, even if it is the best format in inverted commas. I like the fact that they have to deal with a wide range of different race lengths across the season. It really just shows that you need to, if you're good at strategy, you can't use that in sprint rounds. That tool's taken away, and you need to prove that you're just as good when it's pure out and out pace as when you can get a race like tonight when your strategy can make a big difference. Like, you got to prove that you can do it in both, and Denchi's proven he can do it in both. Simon Cox has proven he can do it in both, and I think that's a really good quality for the series to have.
And you're definitely right there, Liam. It does, even though it might not be our favourite format, the sprint races, but your point is a good point. It does spice things up, and it keeps the season quite healthy.
Just nicely. We won't, obviously, at the moment, ladies and gentlemen, we can't give you the full results, the full breakdown of what happened in GT3M, but we can obviously tell you that Denchi got the job done over Simon Cox. You saw all that earlier in GT3 Pro, and of course Oscar Glissett making up the podium there. Incredible night, gentlemen. We really enjoyed that. We trust that you did as well, but it's been a great season, and that's the thing, isn't it, Coxie? At the end of the day, yes, we'll remember Denchi's performance because it was the Ford GT tonight, but there's so many other great takeaways from 10 weeks of competition, and that's why we always say consistency wins championships or heralds podium finishes in championships in the case of you and Oscar.
Yeah, exactly. That's a really good point. It's all about putting a whole season together. Some races you can push, and others if you're not feeling confident, you just got to go for the points and build your points tally for the end of the season.
Go for it, Banksy.
Sorry, caught you unawares there.
No, well, I saw your mic open there a moment ago, so I thought, hang on, he's trying to jump in, and I'm not giving him an opportunity because I haven't been coming up for air. But go for it.
No, I was just looking to see if iRacing, because if I could get the results for the M split up. So I was distracted on my other tab. No doing there.
Nice.
It's
okay,
not
no, it's not. No, forget about it, ladies and gentlemen. We'll have that one later in the week, no doubt. But do stay with me, Banksy, because we've got some news to break to everybody in just a few moments with regards to the rest of the grand final week. Mark, how do you spend the week off, mate? I mean, obviously you're going to stick to the McLaren, so when the calendar drops, I assume that'll give you a little bit of time between now and September 25 when the season launches to have a look at some of those tracks if they're new to the schedule, if they're new to the car.
Yeah, I'll just have a little bit of fun and just do a few officials, and I just realised that I'll miss round 2 then because I'll be on night shift, but so hopefully that's not one of my favourites, but yeah, just have a bit of a break and not take anything too seriously.
All right, very nicely done. I'm starting to run out of questions now. That's not a good sign.
I've got a question.
Liam.
When you feel pressure in the car, either you're in a tight battle or you know you made a bit of a mistake and you get a bit of the wobbles, how do you keep calm? Because I've started singing to myself while I'm racing, and I'm wondering if anybody else does a similar thing.
Hang on. Can we mic that up and have that on air in the GT4 race in a couple of weeks' time?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Karaoke on the platforms to the GSRC.
It calms me down. I'd sing like a nice Jack Johnson song or something. Just if I feel like I'm getting a bit too antsy and I start looking for time, just to remind myself to drive a bit more by feel than pushing too much. Do any of you do a similar thing, or is that a bit unique?
I don't sing. Probably not the best vocalist in a way, but I do have chewing gum.
Oh, the old Mark Taylor trick. Yeah, very nice. Very nice. I was going to say it might sound like I'm taking the piss out of my good mate here, but he actually raises a good point. As we go to Oscar Glissett to get his thoughts on what Banksy's just asked there, and then Mark Foster, you can jump in immediately after Oscar wraps up, please. Different horses for courses. Everybody's got their own, for lack of better words, Oscar, as I go to you, coping mechanisms.
Not much, honestly. I just sort of try to concentrate harder. If that doesn't work, well, I'm sort of stuffed.
Yeah, you and me both, mate. Yeah, we're on the same. And that's the problem as well. If I start frustrated, I finish even more frustrated and cranky and throwing things, and oh god, yeah, it becomes very, very, train wreck like, and very, very quickly as well. Mark Foster, save me.
Oh no, I had a train wreck tonight, so because I didn't deal with the pressure, and I drove badly, and then I spun, and then I think on the 2 laps after I came into the pits, I then put it straight back into the wall again, just all by myself. So after that, I kind of just look. There was a bit of talk to Dutchy, who a mate of mine was in with me in Discord, and I just thought, do I park it and just but luckily, if I didn't have that extra fast repair, then I probably would have, but it was just a matter of, then I was kind of by myself, so you're able to calm down and just start setting lap times, and have the time in the longer races to kind of calm back down again.
I was going to say, other words I could have used there, it becomes ugly, horrible, horrendous. Why couldn't I think of them 30 seconds ago? Very nicely done. I was going to say, the fields haven't been as big as what we've become accustomed to on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club, Simon Cox, but the quality is still there, very much in spades.
100%. You don't need 100 people on the track. You just need 20 really good guys to race with. Even if it was 10 guys, if you can race close and clean with them, and good old Kevin Henderson keeps us in check. And he does a great job doing that race control. It's another person I wish to thank for the season.
It's a thankless task at the best of times.
It is, and he does a great job, short and sweet with his commentary and his penalties. But he does a great job, and doesn't get into he sort of takes no prisoners.
I'm just getting the wind up from my producer here, which if it had had the chance to tell me at the start of the night, I probably would have wrapped it up 15 minutes ago for him, but that's okay. Adam Lavis is on the early start tomorrow morning, ladies and gentlemen. I've only just found that out. However, in saying all of that, any further questions from you, Liam Banks, or are we good to put a full stop on this? Going once, going twice, third and final time, last call?
We are good to put a full stop on this.
Gentlemen, you've been dismissed. Well done. Thank you. Congratulations on your efforts throughout the course of the season. Podium finishes in the championships AM and Pro respectively. Can't wait to see what you bring to the table starting September 25 when Season 4 launches, or Term 4 of our platform, Season 15 of the club. Looking forward to it immensely. Enjoy the break.
Cheers, guys.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it, and congratulations to Denchi again.
Okay, Liam Banks, just to put a full stop on this one. Oscar, sorry.
Before I get in trouble, I should probably say this.
Yeah, you probably should, actually.
Thanks to our sponsors, Plum Plumbing and Fuge Contracting. Yeah, I can't get in trouble now. See you, boys.
Very nicely done. There he is, Oscar Cliff.
Well
Very
done.
well done. Redeemed himself at the end just nicely there, Liam Banks. In saying all of that, mate, quite an incredible season. I hesitate to ask, but I'm gonna put a stipulation, an asterisk next to this one. Driver of the night from you, nomination other than Matthew Dench, because I feel as though we give it to him each and every week, and with good reason and good justification and vindication to do so. But who else stood out for you tonight across the two races?
Across the two races, obviously myself. No.
Well, it was a fair effort.
No. I think I'll pick one from the GT3, and certainly, I've lost the names. No, in the back. Aaron Cooper, 13 spots, 20th to 7th. Can't do much more than that. Brilliant race from himself, and had a really good battle with Holgerson for quite a stint in that race. And Holgerson came and stuck, but Cooper kept it on the black stuff and reaped a 7th place in the end. So that was a fantastic effort from him.
Indeed it was. And very nicely done. Adam Lavis, I can't let you go without asking you what your highlights of the season have been, because at the end of the day, you sit here and not only put up with us, but everybody else as well. And you do so much great work behind the scenes. You've been inducted as the inaugural life member of the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club. You put the servers together. You do all the points, everything else. So put the work of it to one side. What have you enjoyed from an onlooker's perspective?
It's just great to see like a series like the GT4 is just gaining more and more traction over the past 2 seasons or so. Like, and just the close racing in, like that race at Willow Springs was very fun to watch. So it's just good to see not only with the GT3s just constant everyone, but with the GT3s everyone just keeps getting closer and closer. Like Denchi's got a slight gap, but then once you get past Denchi, just the gap. The average gap speed just keeps getting tighter and tighter each season. Like I keep having to shrink the benchmark between the splits to make sure that I've got enough people into the 2 splits. So it's amazing how everyone is improving at a reasonable rate. So it's just good to see everyone getting their laps in, getting their time in, and reaping the rewards.
Very nicely done from you, mate. Let's thank all the people scrolling across the bottom of your screen one last time on a Monday night for Term 3 of 2023. Ladies and gentlemen, we couldn't do it without Waste Options. Also, of course, our good friends at Blackout Electrical Solutions. Orbic Australia is in there as well. Login Systems. Astute Finance, Insurance and Wealth in East Brisbane. And, of course, Fisher and Door Lawyers. And Flash Graphics, our good mate Johnny Simpson. And the rest of the crew. Now, it's important to note, Orbic Australia, of course, who are one of the new sponsors joining the club throughout the course of the season. Thanks to Pete Matson for getting them on board. If you want to get in touch and be a part of the fanfare that is Monday Night Motorsport, please get in contact with the club via our social platforms. Now, we've got a treat for everybody this week, haven't we? Have a look at what's coming your way on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club, ladies and gentlemen. Broadcast. How good's this going to be? Jamie Chapman's picking things up tomorrow night to bring you the up-and-comers series finale from Sandown. Have a look at that. Race 1 starts 7:25. Formula V's first up. Mazda MX-5 second up. Toyota 86's third up. They're all 30 minutes in length. And I believe Banksy's drawn the short straw to work some overtime with him there on that one. But the up-and-comers is always good viewing, so well worth the price of admission there. Wednesday night. Hang on, what's going on here, please, Adam Lavis? Who's in the director's chair Wednesday night, please? It is Gilly. It is our good mate Grant Gill. Excellent. Good to have him back on deck and doing some overtime as well. Wednesday night, Motorland Aragon for 3 sprint races for Formula Ford. Sign me up for that, ladies and gentlemen. Then something a little bit unique and something of a novelty. We're going to the Circuit de la Sarthe for supercars. 90 minutes worth of supercars around the Circuit de la Sarthe at Le Mans in France. The Elite Split, the Dev Split, combined in one server. Don't miss that. I'll be here on Wednesday night. I've signed up for the overtime this week. Thursday night, Daniel Carriasar and I are back with you. We're taking the Astons to Bathurst for the final round of the Production Car Challenge. We'll back that up and bring you the Porsches from Phillip Island in the Super Sprint format, the 3-race format. And plenty to look forward to this week on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club. So this is week 10, night 1 of 4.
Fingers crossed iRacing don't give us more maintenance on Wednesday and Thursday.
Oh, yes. No, fingers crossed indeed. We don't want any of that garbage at all. But yes.
Actually, even tomorrow, I think the even the up and comers said they go past 10 o'clock on their Friday night. So tonight, get it done and be done for the week, please.
Absolutely. So yes, this is going to be an extraordinarily busy week for us, ladies and gentlemen. Term 3, week 10, and this is only night 1 of 4 that we're ticking the box of right here and now. We're with you Tuesday, we're with you Wednesday, we're with you Thursday. That might become a new tradition for a grand final week. Friday night, we're not with you though. We are not with you. I'm not working my birthday this year. Wings and Slicks from the Chicago Street Circuit Formula 3 on Friday night. 2 sprint races for them. And then Saturday night, the Lotus 79s and the Mountain Men at Mount Panorama. So looking forward to that. And then not July, but September 25, we're back with you. Monday, September 25, I think you meant to say there. Sep 25. 25 Sep, whatever you want to say. 25th of September. Season 2023D comes your way on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club. So that will be, what do we call it, Term 4, Season 15 of the club. That is going to be incredible. So looking forward to that immensely. So all that more to look forward to throughout the course of this week. We're doing overtime this week so that we can actually take next week off and not feel so bad about it. But night 1 is done. Congratulations to Sam Muir, the GT4 champion. Congratulations to Matty Dench and Adam Holland, the GT3 champions. Well done to Liam Banks and Adam Lavis for their efforts in the booth throughout the course of the season. Well done to those that stepped in whilst I was out for the count with the Sydney 300, then appendicitis. Greatly appreciated. Joe Baldwin, Grant Gill, etc. and so forth. Liam, of course, has had a couple of nights off as well. So anyone that's picked up the freight in our absence, we appreciate it. But it's a pleasure to be a part of this club, and it's a pleasure to sit here and do what we do on a Monday night throughout the course of the season. And I'm sure you're going to echo those sentiments, Liam.
Oh, absolutely. It's been fantastic this Monday. It's been fun to actually do a bit more racing this season as well. I've enjoyed that as much as I enjoy commentating alongside yourself, Zach, and Grant on the rare occasion I get the opportunity to. It's always absolutely lovely, and the GT3s never fail to put on a good show. Even if it would be nice to get a full season-long championship battle, but it will happen. Domination always ends, and you won't find out if it's next season unless you tune in starting from 2 weeks today.
22 years about this time, we were dealing with the most shocking news of our lifetimes, the World Trade Center. Can you believe that? Just let that sink in for a moment. That was 22 years ago, almost to the minute. September 11, 2001. Thankfully, 2023 is dishing up something far more peaceful and life-affirming in the form of good quality virtual sim racing from Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin. We hope you enjoyed Monday Night Motorsport for the final time in Term 3, but make sure you join the boys Tuesday night. I'll see you Wednesday night and Thursday night as well. Grand finale week, up, and away. And it started with a bang, particularly in the GT4. They didn't even get off the start line before the fireworks were let off there. But Matty Dench proved that he can do just about anything in GT3 racing. He took the Ford for a steer tonight, just for a casual stroll around Road America over the course of about 85 minutes, and still won it by nearly 6 seconds. It was clinical, as per usual, for that man in the number 1. So he'll wear the number 1 next season, most likely on the Ferrari, as we await the dawn of a new era of GT3 racing here on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club, with the new Ferrari machine being cut loose. On behalf of Liam Banks, Adam Lavis, and all the broadcast commentary and production team here on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club, we should also say a big thanks to Race Control, the committee, everybody that makes it happen, the sponsors that back the club as well, and you, the viewers at home, because without you, what's the point of us being here doing this job when you're not there enjoying it or coming along for the ride with us? So we look forward to your company again in Season 15, Term 4. 25th of September, that all gets underway. But don't forget to join us on the other nights of this week as grand finale week of Term 3 comes to a conclusion. On behalf of the crew, I'm Zach Caven from Road America's virtual circuit in Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin. We wish you a very good night.